Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, and our esteemed panelists, my name is Sheetal Sadana, and I extend a very warm welcome to all of you to our Hotelier GM Summit Northern Region, an event that unites the best minds of the hospitality industry. And I'm thrilled to stand before you as we embark on the journey that promises to be insightful, inspiring, and transformative. In an era defined by rapid change, innovation, and an evolving guest landscape, the Hotelier GM Summit stands as a beacon of opportunity and collaboration. Today, we gather not just as attendees, but as a community of visionaries, leaders, and pioneers who shape the very essence of hospitality. I encourage each and every one of you to actively engage, share your insights, and forge connections that can shape the future of hospitality. Let's seize this opportunity to learn, to collaborate, and to redefine what it means to be a true hospitality leader. But before we proceed, allow me to extend a heartfelt gratitude to our valued partners. A special mention goes out to our Powered by partner, Groha, who has lent their esteemed support to this event. We are also grateful for the contribution of our associate partner, Signify, technology solutions partner, Hotelogix, category partner, Snapit Bread, exit partner, VServe, cleaning and hygiene partner, Ecolab, hospitality tech partner, Spalba, and a gracious host hotel, Pullman New Delhi AeroCity. With great anticipation, let's embark on this journey together. A journey that commences with resounding applause as we inaugurate the 6th edition of Hotelier India Presents GM Summit Northern Region, powered by Groha. Can we have a big round of applause, please? That's wonderful. Thank you so much. Now it's my pleasure to invite to the stage a distinguished individual who requires no introduction. Mr. Bibor Shrivastava, the Managing Director of ITP India, a trailblazing figure in the hospitality industry whose leadership has redefined excellence and innovation. He will now grace us with his welcome address. May we have Bibor please on stage, please? Lovely. Yes, the stage is all yours.
As they say, less is more. And I didn't want Sheetal to give a discourse on me. You know, it's a Monday, and that too in Delhi. Busy days, back in the season, full of action, but what an incredible people you are. The house full to its capacity. Magnificent hoteliers, ladies and gentlemen, give a huge round of applause for yourself. Let's hear it. Louder. I think what we did to tell you in 2 minutes as to who we are, where do we come, what do we do, and how do we do. But at the heart of it, whatever we do, we stay neutral, we stay credible, we stay meaningful. And all of this is possible unless you have a collective vision. And how do you do that? You have to have all stakeholders. Ladies and gentlemen, while we seeded the thought of GM Summit, what really went through my emotions when we went through the horrid times, it was at the heart was the GM who was facing the brunt of everyone, from the owners, from the operators, from the bosses, from everybody. And that gave birth to GM Summit. Very proud of you. I think my team says there are hundreds of GMs in the room. Give them a hand, please. All our lovely general managers, not only who are here, who are everywhere in this country, making each one proud. Welcome, Zubin. So I think tonight we celebrate these general managers. And what is important, you can't have a successful journey unless you have great partners with you. Ladies and gentlemen, these partners, and I call them truly the partners, the great amazing brands that you see in the room, right from Groha to Signify on my right, to Snapbread, to Ecolab, to Hotelogix, to VServe. You know, these people have really worked tirelessly to listen what is required and how they come to you to give you that cutting edge, to give you that unique positioning, to make your discerning guest feel that important, feel that service, get that experience what they deserve, and harness the growth and the potential that this industry holds. And tonight, I have invited few of my designers' friends, and I very proudly say, if you want to make your hotel, and if you want to make a statement, profit by design. Zubin is smiling, we've been talking how much we should recognize these Indian turf. Achal is here, Prakhar, Meenakshi, and many others, and Ankur from Studio Lotus. You know, these are the designers who can really help to create that space, the space, and that you can be proud, the space which will derive profits from you. I'm jogged, if I jog my memory, just about a fortnight back, and this is where I come. This industry has seen the technology, disruption, innovation, and I want to touch that. What I want to touch and what I feel at this moment is the general managers. You are truly the heroes. You have taken and proven to the world that you can derive and deliver every time when the needs arise. I was about a fortnight back in Agra, and I have to tell you this. Doubletree by Agra, and I think Sham, I don't know, Harsh, you people are folks are here or not, but they did something remarkable. They literally changed my schedule to get them to myself to Agra for masters in F&B. So I said, what is this all about? I said, you know what, sir? The industry is facing a huge challenge when it comes to talent. And you coming here will be inspiring. I have to tell you that I went and I stayed with them, went through the whole jury and the process, and would you believe it or not, that city holds so much of potential, and what it brings to me, and I see the spark in the eyes of young people, 19 challengers contesting for one position, not anybody ready to lose. Now what does it mean? At the unit level, GMs are taking great initiatives to make their hotel shine. But I think the call is, especially people from Tier 2, Tier 3, take a call, take a note. Collective vision, I would say to general managers. Make your city shine when you come together as one cohesive force to deliver the ultimate objective, which is making your hospitality industry shine. So big Doubletree, well done in Agra, and I'm sure taking a leaf from there, many general managers, many custodians will take it ahead. I don't want to talk ahead because I always feel very emotional when I talk to the hoteliers, because whatever success ITP has made in this country, Hotelier India was the first brand we launched, which eventually gave birth to 7 more titles. So I have a very, very special place in my heart for hoteliers and the brand Hotelier India. I don't want to talk much because we have lined up some excellent speakers, ladies and gentlemen, who you and I will learn from each other. And let me bring on stage my friend Vineet Mishra, the host of the hotel, who very kindly give him a hand as he walks on stage. So Vineet, they're welcoming you with some great music. So the mic is yours. Oh, you go there. He's got a towering personality. He can hold it from there.
The problem is that mic is so precious and so up there. I said I'll take a single wireless one, not even come close to that. But before, thank you so much for giving us this opportunity again this year to host this wonderful evening. Few hours, few chats, few hugs, a few glasses of wine, some whiskeys after that. The rest we will not talk about. It's better that way. So earlier this afternoon when Vibhor was speaking with me, he asked me, so is 6 o'clock a good time? I've heard a few things about Delhi. So I told him, I said, you've heard a few things about Delhi, but you don't know the hoteliers of Delhi, right? Wherever possible, whenever possible, there's a line of discipline in us. We'll be here on time, and you can see it's really, really a pleasure to have each one of you here and have a lovely evening. For me, today's meeting is not about hospitality. I think it's about the family that we all are. Each one of us are connected with each other in some form, in some way or the other. And there's a camaraderie which gets us together. And I think every opportunity that we get, we must celebrate it. And this is also a kickoff to a wonderful next season as it's coming through, besides the budgets which are coming, let's not talk about that. But let's just talk about the wonderful few months we've already had in this calendar year and what lies ahead. Great opportunity, and God bless. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you.
I've been very intrigued, and we are fortunately to have our chief guest this evening, Mr. Vivek, the additional managing director and I is from Madhya Pradesh Tourism, sir. Thank you for coming, and I think they do some incredible work. Thank you very much for being here. I think we are up for a great evening. Thank you for being such a patient listener.
Ladies and gentlemen, our next endeavor is to recognize an individual of a great significance, an esteemed leader within the industry. It is with immense honor that we welcome our chief guest, Shri Vivek Shrotriya, IAS Additional Managing Director, Madhya Pradesh Tourism Board, Government of Madhya Pradesh. Can a huge round of applause for him, please? Shri Shrotriya is a passionate advocate for tourism and is committed to promoting Madhya Pradesh as a world-class tourist destination. His visionary leadership has propelled the state's cultural heritage and natural wonders onto the global stage. His commitment to sustainability and enriching travel experiences makes him a true catalyst for positive change in the world of tourism. We are very honored to have you, sir, this evening. So, the stage is all yours, sir. Thank you so much for gracing our event.
Good evening, everyone. The organizers, IDP Media, hoteliers, Vivorji, esteemed guests, and friends. I will not take much time. I just want to convey the greetings from my Principal Secretary, Mr. Shivshekhar Shukla, who used to be here, and he had to come by some reason he could not make it. Madhya Pradesh, I am from Madhya Pradesh Tourism Board. Madhya Pradesh is called the heart of incredible India. And the reason why it is called heart is not only Madhya Pradesh's positioning at the center on the map of India, but basically what I feel that Madhya Pradesh represents the confluence of all the culture forms that is found everywhere in other states of India. So that is why this heart is associated with Madhya Pradesh. And there is one more reason, that's why we assign a heart to Madhya Pradesh, that the people in Madhya Pradesh are very friendly, very amicable. They, as it is said, ना कि छोटे शहर के लोगों का दिल बड़ा होता है. So that element of hospitality is there. So I just wanted to, this is not a forum where I should speak a lot about the tourism in Madhya Pradesh. For that, I have requested the quorum to play a video after my this Thanksgiving. So Madhya Pradesh, so I was talking about all the culture forms. So be it people, literature, cuisine, traditions, craft, everything. You will find every part of every state in Madhya Pradesh. I won't take much time, Sheetal. I just want to invite you all to Madhya Pradesh and see the spectrum of experiences that we offer. And instead of giving a big lecture on tourism, I would request you to play the video.
When I open my eyes to a day of glee, nature's abode is where I want to be. I am the heart, and I desire it all. Madhya Pradesh, सब कुछ जो दिल चाहे.
Wow, that's an incredible video. Thank you, sir, for gracing us with your presence and your kind words. Moving on, ladies and gentlemen, we now direct our attention to our esteemed partner of the evening. Please welcome Ms. Vidya Meshram, Leader Marketing India, LWT APAC from Groha, to address this esteemed audience and shed light on their remarkable work. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheetal. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Vidya Meshram, Leader Marketing for Lixil India. It's a great privilege and honor to be here with you all to represent Lixil India and our iconic brands, Groha and American Standard. Many thanks to Vibhor and Hotelier India for making us part of this prestigious events. If a picture is worth 1,000 words, I bet a video would be worth 1,000,000. So like most of us are doing, I'm sharing a short video to show how critical and important the hospitality industry is for our iconic brands, Groha and American Standard. The video, please.
Welcome to the world of Lixil, a brand that boasts of a legacy spanning over 100 years. steeped in innovation and technology. As India looks forward to a new age in developing and enriching the hospitality industry, we at Lixil look forward to an exciting future with you.
So while you define and redefine what luxury means for consumers, we constantly endeavor to keep up the pace and to meet the luxury and quality standard that the hospitality industry expects from all its partner brands. I look forward to having a great, insightful and engaging evening with you all today. Lastly, I invite you all to grace the Lixil booth at the end, should you have any questions or message for us. Thank you. Have a wonderful evening.
Now I request Mr. Vikas Malhotra, whole-time director and member of board business, leader systems and services from Signify, to come on stage and offer us a sneak peek in the world of Signify. Request for an AV, please.
This is too bright. Hi, good evening. It's always good to see such a auditorium full of, energy and a lot of people. Someone said in Delhi it is difficult, but on Monday evening, seeing all of them in the hall, it is really, really, energizing. And I'm sure the hospitality industry is also growing as fast and, full of energy right now. So I've been asked to keep it short. So I'll try to continue to 10 minutes because as you understand, we are from industry which is lighting, and lighting is huge. And it is, it exists everywhere. A quick thing, you see here Signify. Earlier it was known as Philips Lighting. Now it is called Signify. So our company is called Signify. The brand which we sell is Philips. I will try to restrict mostly to this hospitality industry or on hotels and resorts, while we, engage in all kind of applications which are there, where light is required, and light is required everywhere. Quick 2 slides on Signify. We are the world leaders in lighting. We sell connected lighting, and we are leaders in that. We have around 6.5 billion revenue, which 75% of the revenue comes from the professional segment. When I say professional, it is outside the residential or outside the consumer market. So worldwide, 75% of our business come through a professional business. We operate in 74 countries with 37,000 people, and I think what we are proud of is we are 100% carbon neutral. In fact, we became carbon neutral in 2020. In India, we became a year faster, so we became carbon neutral in 2019. Our purpose is to unlock the extraordinary potential of light for brighter lives and a better world. Brighter lives, I think it is given since we are in lighting business. Obviously, every time we switch on a light, the lights become brighter. In fact, currently Vikram, our lander in moon, is waiting for light to come, for sunrise to happen, for it to land. So everywhere, the lives become brighter when there is light. And we are in this business of light, so definitely we want to unlock this potential of light and leave a better world. When I talk about sustainability, we don't just say it, we actually do it. So by 2020, we were carbon neutral. In fact, whatever we sell today, all our LED products are, help in reducing the carbon emissions. In fact, if you look at the history of lighting, so if we start from our good old bulb, right? So we used to talk about 100-watt bulb or 60-watt bulb. You increase the wattage and the light, more light comes out. And then we moved to tube lights, which reduced from 100 watt to say 40 watt. We moved to CFL, which was around maybe 20 watts. And now we talk about LED. So the entire history of lighting of 100 years is actually to reduce the carbon emission and make our products more and more efficient. Today, a LED light can probably in a 8 to 10 watt downlighter, we can get the same lighting which is given by 100-watt bulb. We did not stop there. We make it connected. When we say connected, we can reduce energy further. Wherever sun is there, we don't want our lights to be there. So probably the only industry which is not, while we compete with sun, but wherever sun can throw light, we don't go there. So we go give light where the sun doesn't go there. If we see the challenges the the world face. It is on climate action. I've talked about carbon neutrality, health and well-being. When we talk about LED, and I'll cover part of that from hospital's perspective, that how do we improve the health and well-being of the people, safety and security. Obviously, when we talk about connected lighting, even the roads we can make safe today. Circular economy, because we have come up with 3D luminaires which you can redesign and reuse after 5 years or 3 years or whenever we want to change the design. So we're trying to make the economy circular so that we do less and less of wastage. We talk a lot about solar lights, which are again an effort to use sunlight and renewable energy. And even on food availability, we have come up with solutions where we can improve the productivity of crops using our lights. And this is in a horticulture, we're spending a lot of money, a lot of research to make sure that we improve on the food availability as well. As I said, this is through multiple offerings which we have. I will, I think, talk more about that in the coming slides. So that was about our company, and we operate in all possible applications, whether it is public, whether it is sports and area. I think Mr. Vivek Shorte is there. Sir, in MP, we have done a lot of iconic projects like, Orchha Temple or Rajwada in Indore. We can do a lot of iconic structures. In fact, Rashtrapati Bhavan or India Gate, this has actually helped in increasing the footfalls and make the places a better world. More and more people actually travel in the night to see some of these iconic structures. Kutab, you name any iconic place in the country today, it has been led by Signify, including both the old parliament and the new parliament. So that is public, but even all stadiums, retail, office industry, in every application. So wherever light is there, we can contribute and improving the lives, making connected, and improving the efficiency. For today, I will just focus on the smart lighting and controls at hotel and resorts. A lot of people know Philips lighting for our lighting applications. In fact, in this hall, the lighting, apart from these bigger lights, all the functional lights has been done by us. So everyone is aware about lighting, but we also do a lot of controls, which means that these lighting has become smart. So these can be connected through any user interface, whether it is mobile, remote, laptop. So it can be all controlled, it can be scheduled to give a better experience to the customer as well as to the staff. So broadly, I think if I to say that we operate for hotels, for hospitality, we have three big features. One is enhanced guest experience, energy management, and operational and staff efficiency. So when I talk about enhanced guest experience, clearly an effort to improve the revenue for the hotels, and energy management and operational efficiencies reduce the cost. This slide, believe it or not, I am not prepared for this hotelier meets. This is our regular pitch for all our hospitality meets, all our every time I go and meet a customer, because I understand, and the reason I'm saying this, the next panel discussion which you'll all be hearing has this as the topic, improving guest experience, energy, and operational efficiency. In fact, that has been our pitch. The good part of coming to such events is one, definitely we can tell about what our current offerings are, what current technology we are using, how we're improving. But it is also important for us to get a industry perspective, because once we hear the panel discussion, we get to know how this industry is developing and what more solutions we need to come up with for giving a better experience to the industry as well as to the guests. So how are we giving better enhanced guest experience and energy management? Can be broadly summed up in these 6 features. The first two being simple and intuitive control, comfort and personalization for guests, multiple purpose places for whether it is a conference room or a food and beverage area for leisure activity. All that areas can also be changed into a good experience for the customers. Obviously, for the staff, when I talk about operational efficiency, we talk about smart notifications. So on a dashboard in a control room, you can all sit and see which are the rooms which are occupied, whether the guest is inside the room or not inside the room. All the benefits are available on dashboard. So when do you want to send the staff to clean the room or collect the laundry? All that helps in operational efficiency and staff improvement. While doing all that, and obviously there is a control board room which gives all the energy data, how you can improve the energy and reduce your costs significantly. While we offer these connected lightings, obviously this is technology based on cloud. technology based on internet. So it is also important that you have a safe and secure experience. All our solutions are totally encrypted. It is, and a lot of research has gone before we launch that. So we make sure that there is no security breach when you implement some of our solutions. A quick, when you talk about guest room experience, clearly we can control everything, whether it is light, curtains, HVAC, everything a customer needs. We also give a real-time occupancy, basically saying that whether customer is inside or not, and his own, the way he wants to operate, the way if he wants a 24-degree temperature inside the room, every time he moves into the room, it will be 24 degrees. So we have systems to make sure that we capture what does a customer want and make sure the room, when he enters the room, he gets the experience. Now we have done research and we realize the moment of truth is actually when a customer walks into, or a guest walks into a room. If at that time he has to make, if he doesn't find the room soothing, or if he has to fumble with the switches, find out how do we switch on the light or how to change the temperature of the room, it is not a very good experience for him. With our system, you can really, he doesn't have to bother. We have made it simple, intuitive, controlling. So all this, whether it is lighting, whether it is heating and cooling, power, fans, curtains, blinds, all this we control based on real-time occupancy of the customer. All this is centrally displayed on a dashboard for which staff can use to make sure that they are more efficient, they're not wasting time going every time to see whether the guest has left the room, whether there's time to clean the room or not. All the rooms are available on a dashboard with the occupancy status and energy status. So we integrate that with the operational system to improve the efficiency. Our switches, the control switches which are connected to the internet are simple, intuitive, so you don't have to bother to see which switch operates how. And we spend a lot of time to do that. In fact, it improves the guest experience. If you read the last proximity sensors, every time a customer or a guest goes near the switchboard, the switchboard is backlit and the lights switch on. He has very good night experience because every time he gets up, we can switch on the floor lights and guide him to the washroom without him bothering about switching on the lights and finding out which switch operates for which one. So clearly, he can switch on the laundry and privacy switches, which can give the data to the staff to figure out whether they go into that room or not. So make it simple, make it effective for guests has been our aim. In fact, while I talk about connected switches here, we have a big range of modular switches as well. And a lot of people don't know that Philips is also in switches. So we have a big range of modular switches. We can customize the switches, give the shape, the color you want to give, so we can completely customize it. In fact, if you go to the booth at the back, which we have displayed both our connected switches as well as our conventional modular switches. A quick video to give a break to the words I'm saying.
As soon as they open the door, with one tap on a panel, guests can personalize room ambience and choose lighting scenes to work or relax. At the same time, providing you with an overview of all guest requests in your entire property.
Yeah, I've got 2 reminders to wrap this up, so I'll take probably 3-4 minutes more to wrap this up. Just a few words on Interact. As I said that Philips is our brand for products, Interact is our brand for software services. So when we say this is all connected, Interact is the platform we use, and not only for hospitality, Interact is the platform we use for all our applications. And I'm going to speak less and show you more from now on so that I can wrap it fast. Quickly, sir, while we can do this facade lighting for all the hotels, we have done quite a few across the world. Definitely the experience starts when people cross that road where the hotels are there. We can make it look extremely good. Tricolors, all the tricolors you saw on Independence Day, I think 80% of that was done by us. So across most of the iconic hotel facades has been done by us. Definitely a way to pull the customer, the guests in. The lighting product, while I've talked about a lot of controls, we have a complete range. One product which can take give the same look and feel across the different applications of hotels, from 6 watts to 42 watts, any kind of beam angles. Clearly, again, the right kind of light, not too glary, not too harsh for the guest to walk in. I think one of the new things which launched is called Nature Connect. Just imagine that in this room, while we are sitting inside a closed ceiling, if there was an openness here, if you could feel the actual sky, you're sitting under the sky while the ACs are still on, that is what Nature Connect is. It gives extremely good for conference rooms, for meeting rooms, where you get a feeling of openness, a different space, 3 different kind of lights. The middle one gives a experience of sky. The one on the sides give a daylight expression, and then the walls are glazed with a daylight, different colors, a daylight color which can change according to time of the day. While sitting inside the room, inside the conference room, you get a feeling of sitting outside, which again improves the productivity and well-being, which I was talking about in the beginning of the presentation. So can be used for various other application areas as well. The last one probably textile panels, which again, if someone is waiting near the reception, it gives a very soothing effect at the back. Again, can be operated from different designs which you could put on a laptop and display, change as well the time, day, or festival seasons. Really very soothing, luminous textile. I think I'll skip these slides. One last slide before I wrap it up. Whichever area of hotel is there, I've showed about facade, but whether it is back of house, whether it is corridors, whether it is conference room, whether it is guest room, I think we have solution for all kind of application areas. And these are all connected. What we promise is that we will be there with you throughout the journey of construction. We design lighting, we design controls, we install them, we commission them, and we can also maintain it for a larger 10-12 years of time. So no multiple vendors, no multiple chasing of different suppliers saying that light is not working or controls is not working or this is not technically good. We will be there with you for all your requirements. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Malhotra. Without further ado, with these valuable insights in our minds, we transition to the first panel discussion of the day, a topic of great pertinence, innovation in a disruptive landscape. I invite you all to give a very warm round of applause as we welcome the distinguished panelist and the session moderator to the stage. Mr. Arun Kumar, Market Vice President, North India, Bhutan, Nepal, Marriott International. Come on, ladies and gentlemen, can we have a rude round of applause for these people, please? Mr. Ranjan Malakar, Senior Regional Director, Operations India, Hilton. Mr. Sameer Singh, Senior Vice President, Operations, Lemon Tree Hotels. Mr. Shrikant Vakharkar, Area Vice President, Hyatt Hotels, North India and General Manager, Hyatt Regency Delhi. Mr. Surendra Singh, Area Director, Haryana and General Manager, Taj City Centre, Gurgaon. Mr. Vineet Mishra, Cluster General Manager, Accor and General Manager, Pullman and Novotel New Delhi Aerocity. And our esteemed session moderator, Mr. Vikramjit Singh, President, Lemon Tree Hotels.
Hello everyone. I can see a lot of people at the back. Can I request all of you to come and sit? We'll try and make this very interesting. So good evening everyone. We'll try and make this panel very interesting. We'll try and ask and discuss questions which you haven't heard before, or at least we'll try and pretend that they are different from what you hear in other forums. So let me start by asking all the panelists to give a quick 30-second introduction about themselves. Just a quick 30-second, guys. The clock's on.
Hi, my name is Arun. I work for Marriott. I manage some of our hotels in the northern part of India. We are up to almost 50 hotels now, so it's growing. So I'm really excited to be here. And also, as always, thank you, Bibor, for being the ever enthusiast that you are. You're somewhere here. Thank you for inviting us.
Hi everyone, this is Ranjan here. I, like Arun, look after the North for Hilton. And it's a pleasure to be here. It's the third or fourth time now I'm at these events. Always wonderful to network with peers and with the most important people in the room, the GMs.
Hi, good evening. This is Sameer here. I work with Lemon Tree Hotels with all operations at the company. Hotel India, thank you for having me here as part of the panelists. And I look forward to having a great discussion. Thank you so much.
Good evening. I am Shrikant Bakharkar, Area Vice President for Hyatt Hotels in North India and GM of the Hyatt Regency Delhi. Look forward to an exciting interaction with all of you this evening.
Hello everyone, my name is Surinder Singh and I'm the Area Director, Delhi NCR region and General Manager of Taj City Centre, Gurugram, part of IHCL team. It's a pleasure to be in this room today. Thank you.
Yeah, and our host, Vineet, you get to speak for 60 seconds here.
All right, I'll make it really short. I'm the host of the evening. Thank you so much. And my name is Vineet. I look after the Pullman Novotel Aerocity, along with this, a few of our hotels in Bangalore and Chennai as well. Thank you.
Okay, let me start by asking all of you one question. And I just need a one-line answer, no explanations, no reasoning. Sticking with the topic for the day, which is that one innovation, disruption which came into our industry, and we as hoteliers, we as the hospitality industry were caught napping. We didn't see it come. It's coming today. It's here to stay. So what is that one thing, one disruption that you think which came about in the industry? Just one. And anyone can start. Yeah, Surinder.
Yeah, so I think consolidators, we didn't see them coming well in time. And well, they came in and they're to stay.
I would say artificial intelligence, it came in, it crept in, but we were a bit slow to react and embrace it.
Yes, Vineet.
Okay, Airbnb, 2008, there was a little seed. 2011, they were everywhere. Today, they are parallel with us.
Actually, ahead of us.
I agree with Vineet. I think automated accommodation has been one of the biggest disruptors in the past. Like booking most reports, I think 35% of the revenues to come from automated accommodation. And they also, a lot of work.
Yeah. Anyone? Ranjan? Arun?
Look, the one we really thought we were really not ready for is the digitalization of everything, the contactless experience. The COVID really kind of pushed us into this, but I don't think we were ready for it before that.
I would say OTAs a few decades back and probably alternate accommodation now.
True. So what's that one thing, guys, which you fear, which you think will disrupt the business in the future?
So let me take that again. I think artificial intelligence is the name and the game for future. It's not even begun. If you think we have, it's going to be a different platform. Our customer, when he checks in, he probably expects you to know what he had in his earlier stay in a different hotel, this different part of the world. So there is a different kind of experience that needs to be chalked out if we get our AI act together.
So I think it's the rise of fintech and banking companies trying to service and sell them. I think that is going to be the biggest disruptor in the value chain. It's already started to happen. It's not that it's going to be in the future. It's already started to happen. In the West, Chase Travel recently started end-to-end travel company by JP Morgan Chase. Estimates that probably in a year from now they'll be crossing up to $50 billion of bookings. Capital One is investing heavily and buying businesses which are related to travel. Citi has expressed its interest. Amazon India has expressed its interest to sell travel. And I think the reason why it's going to be very, very disruptive is because these companies with the tremendous amount of capital, the digital know-how, the consumer database like nobody else that they have, their marketing reach, and their credit card loyalty programs. You put all of them together as your weaponry, I think, is going to be the biggest disruptor in future.
Interesting.
Okay, I love what you just said. I personally feel that as hospitality innovators, we may actually have a counter to it. It's slightly out of the box. But if you look at blockchain for hospitality, that is from the minute you think of booking a hotel, to your payment, to your ID, to your preferences, to your stay, to your personalization, to your data being recorded in the right manner and being secure in the right manner till such time you leave, all in one entire cycle. Now, this has been done in Bitcoin, and we all know that it was pretty much there. But while others are kind of taking this up, sorry, but I would love to have something called Accor Money, and it's not points that I'm talking about. So that is something which I hope we are fast on and we start thinking on those lines as well.
Very interesting. Yeah, anyone? Shrikant, would you like to add there?
I would just take off from what both Vineet and Surinder said about artificial intelligence and how we actually need to embrace it in a very positive way with its current limitations.
So one of the things that we are working on, I think moving forward, would be talent. And how are we as an industry ready to pay by the hour? I think that is going to be a disruptor coming soon. And we're not ready for it. I think we will be very soon looking at something which is really disruptor in this industry, in this country.
I would say also the distribution landscape, because we really need to innovate with payment solutions, keep up with the likes of Booking.com, Make My Trip. So that's going to be a big challenge for the hotel. How can the hotel apps compete with those big boys who've got billions of dollars worth of technology at their disposal? So.
Very interesting. In fact, we've often discussed OTAs versus direct, but today to the panelists, I have a very different question. You know, with the booking behavior changing, with people looking at retail, looking at booking through online travel agents or direct, do you think, and do all of you think, that sales teams in hotels will slowly get redundant? I know I see a lot of salespeople, please don't shoot me out of this question, but you know, this is a fear. Do we really need those massive sales teams in our hotels? Do you need 15, 20 people going out, in the market, or you don't? Do you see them as, the future, or do you think it's a thing of the past and slowly they'll fade out?
Vikram, I'll take that.
Anyone can take.
So, we all have been seeing on our LinkedIn feeds the public listed companies reporting best quarter, best ever revenues, best PAT, etc., etc. And the staffing aspect has hit the sales department as well. So the staffing levels have gone down and everybody is reporting the best numbers. So I think that gives you some idea of the need and the requirement. So I think what's going to happen is that it's going to shift from how they would earlier approach the corporates and they would have a list of 100 accounts. And it will move to, I think, sales towards B2B platforms, more of consolidators, more of consortiums, MICE, weddings, that will remain as one offline channel. And certain few exceptions such as embassy businesses, etc. But to answer your question, yes, I think the numbers have already gone down and I think they will go down further.
Yeah.
So, but just to add, I think what would be the need would be probably is that you may reduce your sales team numbers, but I think with more of e-commerce happening, you would need to invest that much more towards marketing, loyalty, that aspect, I think.
Interesting.
So I have a different take. My take is that it's not either or. Where we are sitting and the way the cake and the size of the market is expanding, we need to have both the guns firing. India can't follow and do a cookie cutter model of Western world where people have stopped going out on calls. The market's very matured. They behave in a very different fashion. Indians still like to have some connect, some face to where they want to give the business to. OTAs are good. They've opened a great market for us. That's a different segment. Yes, there is going to be an overlap a bit, but I think if both of them are going to fire together and work in hand, there are a couple of segments that are going to give you some good results.
So you think they're both here to stay?
Absolutely.
I'd love one of our panelists to disagree with Surinder. It's getting very boring. Everyone agreeing to everybody here, guys.
I disagree to what he said. So
that's interesting.
I would want somebody to disagree to me.
Yes.
Look, it is not a disagreement, but it's a different perspective, right? There are many segments which warm up to online sales. Many segments do not warm up to online sales. During COVID, I tried personally very hard to sell weddings online so that there is less contact. It doesn't work, right? Especially in India, it will definitely not work, which is good because it creates employment opportunities for so many other add-on businesses to this one segment. And it really makes sense for us with 140 crore population, I think we need some more job creations like this as well. So I think that segment for sure is here to stay.
No, so that segment is very customized. Wedding segment in India is customized to the color of the nail that you're going to put on the wall. So it can't come digital to you. That's for sure.
Yeah, so I think we kind of agree with the common theme here. But my question was, will you still have such large sales teams going out in the market and selling your hotels? Let me request Ranjan to take this.
Yeah, I think it's evolving for sure. I agree that the size of the teams has gone down. Also, what a lot of us are doing is, we've got the on-property sales, there's above-property sales. So apart from the global accounts, there's also this second layer of companies that are coming up in India, which is accounts that need a one point of contact for pan-India. So you can kind of cut down a little bit or redeploy your sales resources on property to other accounts if you haven't penetrated enough. But I would say for hotels that perhaps feel that there isn't more to be milked, you probably want to deploy your resources more towards e-commerce to target the digital marketing or the transient customer rather than have as many foot soldiers. But I think to Arun's point, there are always going to be some segments where you have to have feet on the ground and there's no replacement to that. So will the mix change? Absolutely. Will it go away completely? I don't see that happening in India for a long time.
So to all the salespeople in the room, there is good news for you, yeah? You guys still have a job after this, yeah?
Vikram, I think what will happen is that the sales team probably will end up calling not their traditional client, but somebody else. Like, for example, today, the MyBiz platform of Make My Trip is extremely critical, right? So the relationship guy who's handling Make My Trip account will probably end up producing for 10 or 20 corporate accounts as well at the same time. So I think that change will happen.
So there is some change coming our way. We still don't know what it is, but there is change definitely. Yeah. It's very interesting you brought about Airbnb as a possible, we were caught napping as an industry. And today, by the way, they have a market cap which is more than the most valuable hotel company. The last I checked, it was about 80 billion USD. Yeah. I think the Marriott is about 60 odd. 62 as of yesterday. So guys, I see alternate accommodation now coming in a big way in India, generally speaking, and in Goa specifically. So the question to all the hoteliers here today is, how are we going to combat the whole alt-acco piece? Will they take away business from us? How do you see it coming? Yeah? Where do you see it? Will we coexist? Will we lose business? How do you see the landscape changing?
See, I think
yes, Srikanth.
That there is space for everyone and there is space for us to coexist. Now, if you look at the pros and cons of Airbnb, for example, Airbnb offers, and let's talk specifically about Goa because that's one market in India where Airbnb has evolved rather well as compared to the rest of the country. So in a grand or a luxurious villa in Goa, you'd probably get 4 or 5 bedrooms where 5 or 6 like-minded couples come and spend some time together. They may have a small plunge pool, but that's where it ends. If you look at us, what are we offering as an industry? This is a much more experience-driven stay. For example, we have spa, we got world-class restaurants, we got 24-hour room service, housekeeping, therapies, massages. So all that is lacking in an Airbnb. So if really one wants to get a holistic experience, they would definitely opt for hotels, where they have, in an Airbnb, typically you may have a maid servant or 2 who may be cooking a couple of curries, which could be local, but that's where it ends. But if you want something like a nice pool, wherein there is a pool bar, where people can actually go to the beach and there are deck beds kept for them to relax and sunbathe. So that's a totally different experience which only we can offer. And I don't think we need to be unduly worried about Airbnb or that space as things stand right now.
Thanks. I'd love someone to give a counter to this here.
So IHCL has gone one step forward and come up with Amma Stays and Trails. So that's saying Airbnb, come on, let's see it. Right? Whatever Airbnb is offering you in Goa, Amma Trails is offering with 9 bungalows and collectively.
So I've used Airbnb and alt-acco interchangeably. Right. The question is about the segment.
Right. So the point here is that if there is a customer who needs an Airbnb kind of experience, which is new in India market, is definitely going to explore that. Is there an alternate? Yes. Are hotels going to get into this? Should they get into this? IHCL has done it. Would others want to do it? I don't know, we can all talk about it. There are consolidators and brands coming up in villas, right? So Airbnb is going to take a space of a different segment of the pyramid. It's not necessarily going to take your piece of cake.
Interesting. Arun, you want to come in here?
Airbnb is a great disruptor, but if you see the business, right, they, I think, did about $9 billion worth of revenue, and we did 22 billion as a company, right? But if you look at their market cap, it is much higher than us. So when you see market cap, keeping that aside, because there are various factors involved with market cap, just as a business, is there enough for everybody? Absolutely yes. But
is one taking from the other?
What is happening is the market segment which Airbnb targets is growing. And I think there will be a balance at some stage which we will achieve. What is that balance? I don't know. But they will take away some business from the traditional hotels because of the way that segment is expanding. And if you see this travel, is also domestically driven in many ways, right? Though, for example, we as a company launched Homes and Villas in 2019, right? We have, I think at last count, about 1,000 destinations now we have, right? But it's a tough business to run as a company because you need a lot of effort to kind of manage that space, right? Having said that, there is a segment that they're targeting, and that is bound to grow because of the sheer number of travelers that are getting out, and the supply demand is going to kind of be in a cyclic mode anyway. So it is going to take away more and more business, but everybody will grow for sure.
Just adding to what you said, does the unit economics stack up for a hotel company to get into that space? And anyone can take it. But unit economics are running small 4-5 bedroom villas. Do they stack up? Do you still make money?
Look,
how does it work?
If you try to run all of those things, I don't think it makes business sense at this stage because you probably need to have many different teams running it. But the business model is a plug and play model, right? Mostly not trying to run it, but to manage it on your CRS, right? That's the business model. So if you try to run it, it's going to be tough. I'm pretty sure it is.
So we've been running this now, and I think it's a model that will work if you scale it up right. Right? It's not an easy model to run. Okay, it's a difficult one. You can't think like hoteliers. You have to think like a caretaker. So it's not going to be easy. And why should it be easy? I mean, we are all here for that, right? So that's a challenge, and to make it profitable is challenge. Some of them do very well, and some don't, but that's a challenge.
Okay, different perspective. Hotels, Airbnb, fantastic. Sometimes you want that 4-bedroom villa with a little plunge pool and Bahadur Sham and Vineet looking after you 24/7, where you want to order breakfast at 3 in the afternoon and it's good. But sometimes you want that pancake at 9:30 in the morning, and you're the same consumer, is what I'm trying to get to. Sometimes you take an Uber, times you take a shared ride, and there are times when you're traveling and you find a cycle that you can cycle from location A to B, pedal your way there. The consumer decides what they want, the guest decides what they want, depending on the need that they have at that point of time. And this will continue, it will not go away. I think when you're true to your business, true to your profession, true to your cause, and you continue at it, keeping yourself somewhat real about what's happening in my environment, I think we all reasonably do all right. And that's the way we have to kind of continue. That's my pure submission to it.
Interesting. Well, I think let's move to the next question, because this debate can go on all evening here. But to the best of my knowledge, the study says that Airbnb and alt accommodation today and globally is taking away business worth $500 million away from hotels. Business which was traditionally going to hotels today go to this alt acco space. So that's what the numbers are saying. But I think the pie is growing and we are all probably here to coexist. There's this very interesting Harvard Business School case study on Hindustan Unilever, which says winning in many Indias. Because India is not really one country. It is many cultures, many regions, many flavors, yeah. So today as we expand, and all of you are expanding into tier 3, tier 4 cities, as brands, how are you improvising to be relevant to that audience? Because that audience is very different from people who use your hotels in the metros, or for that matter, even in tier 2 towns. Tier 3, tier 4 is a very different animal, guys. I'd love to hear from the hoteliers, from the esteemed panelists here. How are they improvising to be relevant and to be a preferred option in those tier 3, tier 4 cities? And let me start with Ranjan.
I think that's very valid question, and what some of the things that we're doing is that very often the kind of brand that you would bring into a tier 3, tier 4 could be like in our case a Hilton Garden Inn, which is typically a select service brand, but part of our regionalization, what we've done is that that's quite likely going to be the best hotel in town. So typically a Hilton Garden Inn, for example, would not have too much of food and beverage or event space, but for a small city like say Raipur or Jabalpur, you might need a large banqueting because that is going to become the place for all the weddings or the prestigious events to happen. So sort of evolving your brand standards a little bit in terms of how comprehensive the food and beverage offering is, how big the event space is, making a little bit of flexibility in that aspect of the design. Also how you design the room, you'd need probably a slightly harder wearing kind of room to cater to perhaps first time branded or star hotel users. So maybe less of carpeting, more of wooden flooring, etc. Slightly more robust design to cater to a slightly different audience. But I think it's a great stepping stone because you introduce them to your brand, and eventually these are the people that are traveling into the bigger cities, and it serves as a great gateway to your brand. So absolutely, that's where the action in terms of numbers is, I think, moving forward. And everybody has to tweak their offering by brand for the tier 3 and tier 4 markets, both in terms of product design and also in terms of the food and beverage offering, because you can't come into that tier 3 location and say, I'm going to do limited food and beverage, maybe fixed hours of room service and things like that. That has to definitely, it has to be the whole hog for that market.
Arun, how is Marriott dealing with this? Because you're expanding into every city and every geography.
This is also an evolution, right? We have kind of done it at many different times. At one time, we tried to run Asia Pacific from Hong Kong when we had 48 hotels in Asia Pacific. Today, we have close to 1,100, and we have split into so many teams. In India, we have 3 different locations. We have offices, apart from our sales teams being across the country. If I have to say this in one phrase, right? Ruthless localization. It is an absolute necessity because we are trying to do so many things as you said, right, as a standard. But each of these standards need a lot of localization to get this right in every market. Definitely, if you open a hotel in Raipur, you have to have a big wedding lawn with a big ballroom. That's a given. When you try to, let's say, put it into a brand perspective and say, okay, I'm going to open a Fairfield Inn, for example, and I won't have a ballroom, then that hotel in that market is going to be very difficult to manage. So we have a lot of debate on this as a company to see which location, what makes sense, because we kind of are expanding into so many different locations. And I actually recently went to Raipur, and we have a hotel in Bilaspur, which is also very interesting. So as you go to these locations, I think one thing that comes to my mind is ruthless localization. Absolutely is the way forward.
Interesting. That's a very interesting word. Ruthless localization.
Vikram, so here is it. So ruthless localization would mean no brand standards, limited brand standards, or?
Now this is heating up, guys.
So where are we heading to?
Look, we have to adapt every business model to that local area, local place. We, for a long time, like most international brands, had a set breakfast standard across a brand. Let's say if you operate a Marriott brand, across Asia Pacific, we would have one standard. And if you take that and try and put it in a, let's say, let me pick a location. Let's say, for example, in Dehradun, for example, right? Maybe it is not going to work. Because the clients who are coming there are not looking for this exotic cheese platter. They want something local. And what do you do as a breakfast standard will affect the quality of business and what you offer to customers. And in that way, we need to be a little more ruthless to get that right for that customer. I don't win all the battles with our company, but I win some.
Right, so I've got the message.
Also,
Let's
Vikram,
move
I
on.
think, sorry.
No, move on.
Also, Vikram, I think one very important aspect in tier 3, tier 4 cities is the ownership of those hotels is very, very different and very unique. You know, and my learning came when we opened, as you would know, our hotels in Alwar. And I remember I was sitting across the table with the owner and I said that we will do ABC, we will not do XYZ. And he said, you will have to do XYZ and not do ABC because, you know, for me, Alwar is a very, very small, it's like a Kasbah for me. So therefore, it's very important for you to do things differently, keeping in mind the owner's expectations as well, which are very, very different of a tier 3, tier 4 hotel owner.
Interesting. This is, I think the word is improvisation. You know, the set standards won't work. We need to improvise. And, you know, but Surinder's itching to say something here, so I'd let him speak a few words.
I'm putting a thought in everybody's mind, you know. Every owner's expectation, every local market localization, where are we heading to? And with so much of expansion on a plate, will we be able to go back and look at something and say, is it ours? Does it cut across our standards? I mean, it's a large debate that's going to happen.
I think the important thing, as Arun was also saying, is you've got to sort of think a little outside the box. That doesn't mean that there are no rules. There is no framework. You just sort of tailor-make the brand standards for the market. That doesn't mean the Raipur standards will be different from Jabalpur, but there will be enough flexibility built in so that there is the core offering and there is the 20% that needs to be tweaked. That's more for the food and beverage. But some standards like allowing, you know, a more expansive room service menu would be something you would do in all the tier 3 markets. It doesn't matter whether it's Raipur, Jabalpur or Dehradun, for example. So there is definitely a framework, but it's just that it might differ from the global framework for that brand. And that is something even a lot of the countries where these brands originated from have now begun to accept that what works for, say, a Hampton in the US, because of the social infrastructure around and the way the US works as a market, will not work in places like Asia Pacific where, you know, the Starbucks may not be that close to the Hamptons, so maybe dumping down the F&B will not work. So I think there's a happy medium to be had, and if you don't do it, then basically you're kind of doomed to fail. As a lot of the brands that were first launched, especially in the select service space, have found out. Indians don't care too much for select service. They do like room service. It doesn't matter, you know, if it's an economy hotel, because the guys in Mahipalpur across the road offer that. So you cannot get away from stuff like that.
Very true.
So I think we should conclude by saying you win some and you lose some and agree to disagree on this.
No, but let me, since we are staying on the topic of food and beverage and restaurants, let me bring something here and try and throw a googly at you guys. Food and beverage is slowly moving out of hotels to standalones. Some brilliant brands, brilliant restaurateurs, lovely, you know, outlets which have opened. So as hoteliers, what are you guys doing about the multiple restaurants that you've created in your hotel? Are you getting a yield per square foot on that real estate? Or is it, you know, you're just maintaining it and rooms is subsidizing that real estate? What's happening to it? How are you going to combat the fact that F&B actually is moving out of hotels? What are we doing about it? And let me start with Vineet here.
All right, to start with, for years together, I think...
See, the operative word is yield per square foot, and this is prime real estate.
True. So, for many years, we used to always say how many rooms, and first of all, let's find a prime space to feed them the first meal of the day. And that's how I think everything started off. After that, we had to create another restaurant. There's one space which is on this either the second floor up or 2 levels down on the right hand side. It's not a speakeasy, but that's your key specialty restaurant. That is how we would create. And then the third part was, let's make a massive, expansive lobby where we can have loads and loads and loads of sitting, but no monetization of that sitting. This is the tradition that we used to kind of work with. I think all this is starting to shift a fair bit now. I think hotels for a very long time have done great breakfast, and we will continue doing that. That's a commitment. We also love buffet restaurants because we are trying to please everyone across. But what we do is we limit ourselves to just specific meal periods. Out of 7 days of the week, our focus goes on to one thing called the Sunday brunch. And that's the end all of it. While the space outside started creating beautiful concepts, which were nice, they were quirky, they were meant for a specific segment, which incidentally turned out to be more local than international. And that is something which we are learning now. I think we are late starters onto that. I won't say that we are already there. But most new concepts which are coming in pretty much ensure that you've got limited seating, but that seating, if you want to use my air conditioning and everything else, the beautiful ambience of a lobby, you should be having a beverage with you. And this is also luxury space. I'm not just speaking economy. The second part is that when we are reworking on our concepts, I think we are making it far more authentic in its own approach, not trying to please everyone and anyone. And that's my understanding of it. Will food and beverage be more successful in a standalone versus a hotel? I don't think so. I think we will compete. The fact is the competition grid has gone so much. But having said that, running a restaurant P&L today is becoming exceptionally critical for us to understand whether it is really worth it to do it yourself or give it to a third party or make a showroom out of that place. But at the end of it, per square foot, should be able to give you some kind of a return.
Let me bring Shrikant in. Shrikant, what's your view on that? You run many successful restaurants in your Delhi hotel.
Yeah, so as you rightly said, over the last decade or so, there have been many freestanding restaurants that have mushroomed all over cities like Bombay, Delhi and Bangalore, which really give a run for the money to us as in five-star hotels. So what we've adopted as a strategy is to make sure that the brand stays alive, the restaurant brand stays alive in the minds of people not only in Delhi, but other cities as well. So we've started doing pop-ups in other cities, wherein we've taken China Kitchen to another Hyatt hotel and done a pop-up there. Similarly, we've actually tied up with freestanding restaurants of repute, and we brought them at the Hyatt Regency Delhi, and we've had pop-ups with some of these globally renowned and nationally renowned freestanding restaurants. For example, we had a pop-up for a month with Gagan Anand. We had a pop-up with Mask, and that's what we've been doing to stay relevant and also to respect the competition who has been mushrooming in the freestanding space.
Vikram, just two lines on this. If we are losing the market to them, yes, for sure. And if I can be just straight.
But let me come in here. If you are losing, so let's say you have empty restaurants in your hotel, what would you do with it?
So I'm answering that. I'm saying that we are losing it because somewhere the restaurants are getting too tight. The restaurants are getting too formal. All these restaurants who do well don't shut at 11:30. Not a single restaurant shuts. You name a restaurant, I'll tell you what time it shuts. They have, apart from the booking slots that they say that they are in, they are so flexible, okay? And like Vineet said, they do adaptive cuisine, right? None of them boast about authentic cuisine, but they talk of adaptive cuisine to what Indians like, to what the Mumbaikars like, what Delhiites like. So when you're adaptive, okay, you're flexible. You allow them to eat at 1:32 in the night, okay, it's going to be a success. Another point I want to make is that the brands need to be more innovative and creative. I think somewhere down the line, the food and beverage industry in the brands have stopped thinking beyond a point. And that's where the restaurants outside found a gap and said, listen, you go to any hotel, you have those cookie cutter 30 dishes. I may garnish it differently, I may call it differently, but ultimately it's the same dish. So that's where the space is outside.
So let me rephrase my question for everybody. Are hoteliers ready to shut empty restaurants and convert it to a meeting room, a banquet hall, a showroom like you said? A yes or a no? Let me start with you, Vineet. Just one word.
Business case.
So if the business case makes sense, your answer is yes.
Yes.
Surinder, I'd love to see you one word. Hear one word from you. No?
We will make it work.
Excellent.
No.
Samir?
So thankfully for us, we have very
We've
few
already
such
done it, so-
spaces. We have more rooms. But yeah, the answer is yes.
Ranjan?
For us, hybrid. So if we can't make it work for whatever reason and it's not feasible, then we'll get somebody in who can run it for us.
Excellent.
Lease it out.
Let's hear Arun now. Yes or no?
Look, if I'm a GM, I would fight for it. I would say no. Right? But in my job, I would say yes, absolutely yes.
Okay, guys, so let me wind up here by asking a very relevant question. You know, all through COVID, we had multiple discussions in forums, first online and then offline, and you know, everybody spoke about the immense learnings, the new margin expansions, the new way of looking, and the new way of doing business, new manpower ratios. So my question to everyone here is, how much of that still exists today in our business and how much of it is forgotten? And let me start with Arun here. What all have we forgotten? What all are we still doing?
Look, the contactless experience, we have taken it to a different level. I think that's something here to stay. It will stay. One of the things that we have really pushed hard to do away is the QR code menu. And we are putting
You have it or you've done away with it?
No, we have done away with it. We are putting physical menus in most of our hotels now.
So one practice forgotten, QR codes.
So I think for us, we've kind of gone with a hybrid approach. So some people are quite happy with the digital or the contactless approach. So we've kind of tried to make sure that we have both options there. And from an efficiency perspective, what could have been done away with has been kept away. But obviously, as business levels have come back, a lot of those numbers have come back to pre-COVID levels.
So any good practice that you think because of business pressure, because of volumes, occupancy, you've had to do away with?
I think what we've retained, which came as a result out of COVID.
Either way, yeah.
Yeah, digital check-ins. So now we always had that ability, but now we've sort of got the staff pushing it, the team members pushing it a lot more to the guests and trying to make sure that we can sort of move away into a paperless environment, especially since a lot of our hotels that have opened after 2018 have the GRMS feature, which means you don't really need a key card anyway. So that is something we're still pushing for, and the adoption has increased.
Yeah. Samir?
So one practice I think that we've stopped post-COVID, thankfully, is salary cuts. So that's a good thing. But on a serious note, I think for us in the mid-scale space, we've continued with pretty much everything that we implemented during COVID, barring a few small changes in terms of buffet size, etc., which has come back to normal. But I think barring that, most of it has stayed. Like Arun mentioned, I think for us at Aurika Hotels, we kind of brought back the physical menus, etc. But otherwise, for majority of our hotels, everything has stayed.
Yeah. Shrikant?
Yeah, while the QR code menus are very, very boring and tend to be extremely statement-driven without any excitement in them, what we are doing now is a very different approach to the same menu. We are doing something very innovative. Work is in progress on that front, and we are looking at how can we actually infuse a couple of videos of our chefs cooking dishes, etc., by which when the guest sees the menu, he can actually visualize and salivate at the fact that this dish is something which I would want to have. So there's work in progress, so we are innovating it to a different level altogether.
So the only thing that we've got rid of is the masks. Okay, I think the rest are there to stay. And I think they should stay. I mean, we have still got the QR codes on, so I think it should stay.
The manning ratios?
Manning ratios are staying, but if the top line is growing, the manning numbers are growing accordingly, but not at 2019 levels.
So our
Otherwise,
host,
there is no increase in your salary.
so our host, you want to wind that up with?
Okay, so during the entire pandemic time, I think what many of us actually miss today are the wonderful colleagues who used to be with us and who chose another path in their life because of reasons that we all know. And I think it's very important for us in this room also to realize that we are on a time bomb. We all are expanding. Next few years look great on charts, but we need great colleagues to run this through for ourselves. So if you really ask me, that's my submission, that investing into talent, if this room goes across and commits that I will go and do one session at one IHM or one private institute or just a school or speak to a career counselor to say hospitality is a great industry, I think we are starting to invest back for our own self and industry as a whole. That's all for me.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. We've tried to make this as interesting as we could. We have time for just one or two questions from the audience. Would anybody want to ask the panelists anything? Yeah. Can someone hand over the mic? Or, yeah. Please introduce yourself and the panelist, name the panelist who you want to ask the question to.
Yeah, thank you. Hi, my name is Anshul Kumar and I'm representing Savo Hospitality. My question, I guess, is to the entire panel here. I think the biggest disruption was COVID. Now, of course, there could be another pandemic coming in the next 10 years, 50 years, or 100 years. How is it that each of these hotel chains, even travel, is gearing up for that next disruption that could potentially again bring travel, to a complete standstill? So, what are the learnings that we are going to put so that the next generation or whoever faces this COVID situation again is able to gear up for it?
Why don't you allow us to enjoy this? I mean, we've had that for 3 years. Let us enjoy this. We'll cross that when we reach there. I think 20, 30 years is a lot of time. I'll meet you somewhere later.
Hopefully we'll be done working by then.
Hopefully, for
See,
sure.
the reason you call it disruption is because you can't foresee it. So we'll play along. I think we are a very resilient industry. We'll fight back. Travel can never stop here.
And learnings are not going to disappear. They're there to stay.
So Natwar, we're all scared of your question, so we're going to ignore your hand here. The mic to Natwar, please.
We've got Nipun there.
Sorry. Yeah, please, sorry.
Yeah, good evening. It was a nice discussion, and I am coming back to the first part of the discussion, which was about improvisation and localization. I think brand is all about consistency. So if you are talking about too much of improvisation and localization, are we not killing the brands?
Since I asked this question to him, let me answer this. It is, we win some, we lose some. We have to exist and survive in that market. If we don't adapt ourselves to that market, we won't stand there for long. Am I right?
Very true. Look, we don't want to kill brands. Okay, we have spent a lot of time, effort, money to build brands. I mean, we own 31 brands. But we have to localize, not only in terms of offerings. I mean, we need to have a standard. We have things that we will not compromise on, but there are things that we need to adapt, like amenities. For many, many years, we used to use a company to import all our bathroom amenities. Now we have kind of gone away and source most of it locally. And I think that's already something that we want to continue. Very similar to that, there are many things that we can do locally which makes more sense to each of our brands and where they are actually doing business.
So some parts are non-negotiable, some can be improvised. That's a short answer to your question. Natwar?
And you have, sorry,
if I
you
can
have to
just
figure
add
out
to
what
that.
you're...
I think even if you look at, for example, something like a BMW or Mercedes, they've got long wheelbase models for markets like China and India, even though for BMW, for example, which is all about driving pleasure. At the end of the day, you can either stay true to your brand and say, I will not make a long wheelbase version, even if I don't sell in two of the largest markets, or at least one of the largest markets and one of the fastest growing, which is us. Or I can evolve and sort of retain as much of my DNA without compromising, but give these guys what they want. So I think we're no different. We have to adapt, and that's what we're doing. As long as the DNA of the brand remains, it's just about sort of catering to the little nuances that every local market has.
Yeah. Natwar, your question, please. Yeah.
My question to you guys is that most of the brands will spend a lot of money in creating brands, spending money on marketing, enhancing the whole concept of brands. I want to ask you, what is your contribution or likely contribution to invest in the human capital of educating new young kids to come back to this sector?
So anyone can take this?
Yeah.
Look, since you asked the question, so I need to answer this, right? There are many things we as a company do very well, and some things we are learning as we evolve, right? Now, in the last 2 years, with the disruption, we've had a lot of talent that we spoke about recently. How are we going to go and get people to come and work for hotels? Having said that, I mean, we work with people like yourself. The Jobs Plus is a fabulous, fabulous initiative. I think that is here to stay. And again, when I say localization, we need to go to these local markets to find the talent there and employ them. Trying to shift somebody from Mumbai to go and work in Bilaspur, rather than trying to get around Bilaspur to find people to work there, will make more sense. So our initiatives now are trying to get to the local markets to train, hire people, and get kids to be interested in hotels. Right? And we're going to ask for help from you.
So, as part of IHCL, I can tell you in last 12 months, we must have rolled out over 18 to 20 programs, which probably help right from an associate level till a EVP level to kind of garner more knowledge in the field that they're working in. And that's a lot of direct financial resource investment. Number two is that part of our Patya program, and an offshoot of what he said, that there's a lot of connect with the locals of that city and that place. And if you give some kind of sense of purpose to the youngsters who are working with you, you kind of get two achievements. One is they do more than what they're supposed to do and something different than what they do, so they stay with you for a little longer. And two is that they are happy to do something which is more than just taking cups and plates and trays around, right? So I think everybody needs to look at this from a talent which is not just available for that core purpose of job that you've hired him. And in Gen Zs, I think if you go back and study their patterns, they're happy to do 2-3 things together. They just get their mind fatigued if you tell them to do same thing continuously for 10 months and you get a resignation after 12. Well, sir, I'm going. But if you engage him in a CSR activity, if you engage him in a project work or a PIT, you will see that this is going to change.
If I can just add to that. So apart from the attraction of talent, what we're working on at Hilton is retention. So, a lot of productivity or incentive-based earning structures so that the top performers can sort of get compensated more given their talent and their caliber. We're also trying to make their work-life balance better, give them more flexibility in how they schedule their shifts. Also try to make things simpler so that we no longer need necessarily hotel management graduates all the time, and make things simpler. So when Hilton was looking for a property management system to replace the existing one of the key criteria for selecting that property management system was, is it easy to train? And the reason we chose Hotel Key was that compared to our prior PMS that needed approximately 35 hours of training before somebody could be put at the front desk, the new one can do that in under 6 hours. So just trying to make things simpler so that, you can attract a different strata of talent into your hotel pools, your talent pools.
I think we've got Vibhor giving us very, very blatant signals. So I think we'll wind up with that. Thank you all. It was a great session. Guys, a big round of applause for the panelists. Thank you.
I didn't step in to give, to interrupt this, but I think it's been a very devouring session. And we got another power panel, some extraordinary people in the room. Right? Sheetal, all yours.
It was an incredible session, trust me, very interactive. With the conclusion of this enlightening and engaging discussions, we express our gratitude to all our panelists and request Mr. Aditya Singh, CEO Hotel Logics, and Mrigang Srivastava from VServe to join us on stage for felicitation. Aditya and Mrigang, Mr. Shrikant Vakharkar.
I'm giving my girl a little break. Mr. Surinder Singh. Don't be conservative in clapping for them. Yeah. Shiva, thank you. Mr. Vineet Mishra. And the Sutradhar, Vikramjit Singh. Mr. Sameer Singh. Mr. Ranjan Malarkar. Arun Kumar. Gentlemen, all step up for a group picture. We're just going to hold our power panel for some more time. And all the lovely men standing, we have places for you to have a seat. We have kept you hydrated all through the evening. So all the lovely people at the back, may I request you, I can't see people moving. May I request all the people at the back at Signify and Grohe and Snapbread to please step up and take the seat as we move towards the end of the evening.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm delighted to introduce you to Mr. Shiva Prasad Gangadharan, Chief Sales Officer of Hotel Logics. He will shed light on his organization's goal. May we request for an AV, please?
Good evening, everybody. I'm Shiva Prasad. I'm the Chief Sales Officer of Hotel Logics. We have got a small presentation which is going to talk about the power of cloud for hospitality industry. I think a lot of the points were covered by Mr. Vikramjit's first question itself when the panel happened. So one of the main factors we see is that technology has changed, right? Now we have moved from all these old systems to cloud, mobile, World Wide Web, social media. So the world itself has changed, and some of the driving factors we see that has changed hospitality. So we'll cover a few factors on that. Now there are a lot more new advances. We have got ChatGPT, blockchain, cloud tech. Some of this was mentioned by the panels also. If you see this, you can see that something like DigiValley or your DigiYatra, all of this is now realistic, and you can these technologies are available and you are using it on a day-to-day basis. When first time Aditya, CEO, met me, he told me a few things, right? I came from an opera ideas background. He said, we go live with hotel in 4 hours. Okay, so somebody was, I think in the panel also mentioned that. He said that the hotels go live in 4 hours. Then that we have 2,000 hotels, we have not even seen one of them. And all of them are outside India. These are the 3-4 things he told me, right? That seemed very strange coming because we used to take, 3 months to start the implementation. So that seemed very different from what hotels were generally doing at that point of time. And that change has happened only because of one. Cloud has enabled this transition from hotels going live in 2 months on a system, the faster rollout. Some of these innovations where our alternate accommodations came into place, I think we played also a large role in that. There were a few of them using us to start off their businesses where we could roll out at that speed for them to be able to do that many hotels at that pace. The other part which has changed is the booking landscape. 65% of bookings or more come on mobile according to booking.com. 80 or 90% of people who book online all read reviews, and now they read multiple reviews. They use Meta, a lot of things to look at the reviews. They look at photos, the way they book has changed. The amount of channels where the booking comes from itself is immense now. Now hotels have to navigate through a whole set of channels which looks immense, right? So the way the booking happens now has changed drastically. The questions hotels ask us. Earlier when we used to go for meetings, questions that used to come up was, how does my Reg card look like? How does your check-in happen? How does the checkout happen? And all. We don't get any of those questions at all now. None of the 2, 3, 4. It doesn't matter which type of property it is. These questions are not asked to us. The questions that come to us are centralization. Can I get central balance sheet, central P&L, MIS, central guest history? If one guest has stayed in one property, can I know where he has stayed? What was his like? What did he eat? Where did he visit? Personalization, can we send some targeted campaigns to them? Guest recognition, people have started asking us, how do we recognize guests before he comes to the hotel or when he enters my hotel? Can I do some facial AI recognition? Personalized services, connection to IoT devices, data-driven decisions, pricing, reputation, customer spend, segmentation. How do I collate reviews together? Can I see all of this together? Can I answer to all of this from a single dashboard? So, if you see the questions, I'm not even talking long back, right? 5 years back, the questions hoteliers used to ask us, and what they ask us now are two different things, right? Security is a major concern. So when the data is lying at the hotel, who is responsible for the data? How do we be compliant to GDPR? How do we ensure that all of this is all the government regulations are met? How do we scale? Again, I mentioned earlier, going live in 4 hours, right? We give you the hotel, we want to go live by tomorrow. We want all our OTAs connected to the PMS. We want the availability to be there, right? So immediate profitability. Some of these questions is what are being asked to us, and that is what we are trying to address also, right? So we have been trying to help hotels address a lot of these concerns, and adoption of cloud is still very young. I mean, it is happening rapidly in India currently, but still less than 10% of the hotels will be on cloud. The other factor, I mentioned IoT, but a lot of our hotels ask for connecting to Amazon Echo. Some of them ask for, I want keyless check-in. I want contactless check-in. I want location-based information. I want to control the in-house devices. So the systems require open API. We need to connect to a lot of devices, unlike earlier where all of this was standalone and there was no connection to any of this and there was no data coming in. Now, what has cloud done for this? What has cloud done is that they have enabled it to be delivered at a really low cost, right? Earlier, half my deals when I'm in Opera, selling Opera is $500,000, right? Now it's maybe $5 to $6 per room per month. So the capability of cloud to deliver this has reduced the overall cost and made all of this possible. So when technology meets hospitality, that is when magic happens. To give an example of one of this large, I'll show you a video. We did the FIFA implementation. It was, 70,000 odd rooms with 25,000 check-ins and check-outs happening every day. So I'll play a small video on that FIFA and I'll leave you with that. Thank you.
But for us, it's a matter of honor to make their stay a memorable, serving millions of global families.
Thank you, Mr. Shiva Prasad, for sharing your organization's noble endeavors. Ladies and gentlemen, before we move on to the power panel, we have a heartwarming message from Ms. Sonika Malhotra, Joint Managing Director of Embedi Group, who is currently in the US. May I request for the AV, please?
Esteemed colleagues, hoteliers, visionaries, and stalwarts of the industry. It's an immense privilege to address a room filled with some of the most influential minds of our industry. Today, I wish I was there in person with you all to experience the magnanimous pool of knowledge. I'm highly obliged for Hotelier India having me be part of this esteemed conclave online. The hospitality sector, like many others, has undergone profound transformations. Every now and then, we see changes driven by technology, evolving guest expectations, and recent global events which have reshaped our landscape. In this new world, the matrix of success in driving the value for stakeholders and the means to achieve them have undergone a complete metamorphosis. For instance, the new era of digitization. While I understand hospitality requires human emotion and innovation, But mobile applications, touchless formalities are no longer novelties, but a necessity to drive efficiency and maintain reasonable standards. Even the data analytic tools enable us to understand our guests like never before. Tailored experiences, from room preferences to curated adventures, can drive customer loyalty and in turn consistent and enhanced revenue streams. Today's guests are informed and conscious of the environmental footprint. Implementing sustainable practices is not just about being responsible, it's about attracting a new generation of guests. Sustainable practices can also lead to reduced long-term costs and enhanced brand image. We at MBD are committed to such efficient practices to recycle, reduce, and reuse. At MBD, we believe that in transformative times, we're not just in the business of providing rooms, but crafting experiences. Each guest who walks through our doors seeks not just a place to rest, but an ambience that resonates with comfort, luxury, and personal touch. We do not only rely on room bookings. We offer experiences, be it in our spa, gourmet dining, or curated local tours. These have opened new avenues of revenue channels. This has not only increased profit margins, but has also served as a hedge for low occupancy seasons. I like to conclude by stating that driving shareholder value in this new world order is not just about adapting, but by leading. It's about understanding that our industry's heartbeat is the guest. When we innovate, evolve, and rise to meet their expectations, we don't just drive shareholder value, we set the stage for a brighter, more prosperous future for all stakeholders involved, including our team members. Thank you very much.
Gentlemen and ladies, before we start our power panel, may we request everybody in the venue to take their seats, please. As we near the conclusion of this enlightening evening, we approach the final session, a power panel discussion with the esteemed panelists and deliberate on the topic, driving shareholder value in a new world order. Let us unite in a resounding applause as we invite these luminaries to grace the stage. Ladies and gentlemen, a huge round of applause for these people. Louder. Thank you. I welcome on stage Mr. Ajay Bakaya, Managing Director, Sarovar Hotels and Resorts. Mr. Nikhil Sharma, Marketing Manager Director, Eurasia. Market Manager Director, Eurasia, Wyndham Hotels and Resorts. Mr. Sudeep Jain, Managing Director, Southwest Asia, Intercontinental Hotel Group. Mr. Vibhas Prasad, Director, Leisure Hotel Group. Mr. Zubin Saxena, Managing Director and Area Senior Vice President, South Asia, Radisson Hotel Group. And our esteemed session moderator, Mr. Jaideep Dang, Managing Director, Hotels and Hospitality Group, JLL.
Sitting on the other side of it. You know, my moderator says we will not start till the people at the back don't take their seats. Can I request the people at the back, please take your seats? This is the last session in progress. May I request people at the back, I can't see many people at the back, and hoteliers are known for their, what do I say, grouping for words, but let's for once show them the respect for the speakers here. People at the back, may I request you to join us ahead.
I think it's quite okay if they don't want to join us. That's perfectly
No,
all right.
Mr. Bakaya, it's going to take a minute.
But they can grab their drinks and move out to the pre-function.
So we have kept you hydrated for long, and this is a request. All the men at the back, I insist that you please take your seats. My friend Jaideep Dang is waiting to start the discussion. It's very earthly hours. It's just about 8:45. People on my right, can you please join? Thank you. Jaideep, all yours.
Power panel is on power backup, by the way. Right? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for attending. You guys are lovely as always and very kind to us. When I was told to do this, I thought I'll start like a Vajpayee, start slowly, then ask those questions patiently, but I think the train is running late. I must do this show as a Karan Johar now. This is a rapid fire, we don't have too much time. Zubin's given me 20 minutes, I don't know about you, all of you are hungry, so let's see. Ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome to the very, very honored and my privileged guests, Mr. Bakaya, Nikhil, Sudeep Jain, Vibhas and Zubin Saxena. That was a trick. I thought कि चलो तालियों से शुरू करते हैं, हमें भी थोड़ी encouragement मिलेगी, isn't it? Okay. So I'll begin. It started raining, is it? Zubin, I begin with you. Well, on the way, I'll also ask some boring questions, so it's not all about interesting things, right? Okay. So Zubin, Radisson's celebrating 25 years in India. Some of us think it's a global brand. Truly it is. But many Indians also think it's an Indian brand, right? We've all kind of grown up in our age seeing the Radisson across the airport when there was hardly an airport. What is the reason of this great familiarity of Radisson in Indian hearts?
Thanks, Jerry. Good evening, all. I know we are the only guys between now and dinner, and the chef's done a great job outside. So I'm sure he wants to serve us hot food, and we all want to eat hot food as well. So I'll come to your question. Thanks, Jerry. Good evening, all again. What's the reason? As we go across the country, there are, in fact, starting from right here at Delhi Airport, that circle's called Radisson Circle. Then you go to Indore, where we have the lovely Radisson Blue. It's called Radisson Chowk. Right? As you go down the country, there's a Radisson Square somewhere. There's something else, roadways named after our hotels. The reason, there are two reasons, actually more than two, but I would like to broadly say that falls into two buckets. One is the sense of ownership. We are not only looking at our markets as transactional markets. We are not looking there to be there just for the business. I think for us, it's a sense of longing and sense of care. So we want our hotels to become the melting pot within the localities they are in, within the neighborhoods they are in. And, that's really been the strategy and the mindset behind the group. The second reason is that I think we dared, and with due respect I say that, when most others didn't. And we went into markets much ahead of time when nobody would want to go into a Ranchi or a Guwahati or a Gorakhpur. We guys actually ventured in there. So, and that has been now from our first hotel here. By the way, when the Mahipalpur hotel opened here, this used to be out of Delhi. 25 years, that hotel, we celebrate 25 years. That was our first hotel. We just celebrated the 25 years at that property also. That hotel used to be outside the city. So I think we've done some very careful study, careful analysis. Even now, that's the way we do it. We're very scientific about the way we are operating our business. But, you study the master plan, study the demand in the market, study what's going to happen in the future, and you take the risk, right? And once you've taken the risk, then try to be part of the community, right? So I think that's what it is. Radisson, and this is a recent Google survey that's come out, is the most recognized hotel brand on a Google survey. So, that's us. We're part of the social fabric, social culture. And, and lastly, I'm sorry, I'm taking, I think, 5 minutes of the 20, but don't come back to me again.
They kept us waiting a couple of hours. You take your time.
Yes, so I thought, I had all my answers well rehearsed. I would have said this over 1 hour. I'm saying it in 5 minutes now, so bear with me, right? No, but I think for us, it is really about caring for our guests, caring for our stakeholders, and it's true. It's not just a spiel I want to give to the audience here, all of who is very, very intelligent. If you approach a business with a little bit more than just the nuts and bolts and the black and whites and the numbers, I think there's a lot more you get back. And I think that's the Radisson philosophy.
That's passion, isn't it? The passion took about 5 minutes, rest all was Radisson. Thank you, Zubin. Another passionate man sitting left on my side. Again, very similar story. If we talk about the act of bravado that Radisson, perhaps, and the people at that time would have done, Mr. Kachru included, in taking those deals to the market. The man who actually did perhaps a little more deeper and wider is Mr. Bakaya. What a brand you have created, from luxury to, from tier 1 city center locations to tier 2, tier 3 towns. How's it going, sir?
Well, it's going very well. It's still more in the making. We are 105 hotels now. But I think more than how it's going well for everyone right now. And I think it will augur well for the next 5 to 10 years in India for pretty much everyone sitting in this room. We had 3 things going for us. When we entered the landscape, there was very little in the mid-market that was professional. It was either the big boys and the fancy hotels or pretty much nothing at all. So there was a huge space there. Secondly, we had the entrepreneurial zeal to say, let's go and do this and let's go and do that and let's go do something differently and let's not be bothered with what's been done in the past. Let's find our own formulas. So it was that spirit of, daring do. Let's get out there and see what happens. We'll figure it out. And I think something that stood us in good stead all this while is our strong ability to behave, think, and act and speak like owners. You couldn't have some places doing well and some others not doing well, saying, I'll cover it up. You had to succeed everywhere. You had to deliver top line and bottom line in every single project that you went into. And if the owner had genuine concerns of not being able to pay his debt, etc., you listened and you reacted in a manner that was helpful to him. So those are some of the things that stood us in good stead. We are well positioned today with a vast array of brands. We have the Golden Tulips table in addition to the Sarovar Hotels, which adds a franchising dimension. And I think we are looking at much bigger and better things than what we've got to so far. Thanks.
Now look at that, more than 100 hotels, and he's just said, we're just starting. So that's the zeal. Congratulations on whatever you've achieved, and a lot and many more to come.
Thank you.
Sudeep, what a legacy. Brands like Holiday Inn, Crown Plazas, in this country, and again, very similar story. It's a great legacy. And when you have such powerful blockbuster brands, how do you get your new brands in? And what do you tell your owners? Because everyone will be vying for the same Holiday Inn. By the way, or the Crown Plaza, or the Interconti, we all sort of grown up seeing that. And now you have some new brands coming in. How's the experience like? How do you get in?
So, thanks very much, Eddie. But I think we rely on two things. One is the rich legacy and history which you talked about. And I think that transcends itself into the platform that we bring, right? Which is the sort of the distribution engine, the systems, the revenue management, the talent management, and so on and so forth. And the new brands, although we have 19 brands now, we introduced the 19th brand last week. In India, we've been very careful to bring brands only which may be relevant and right for the market, right? So, we started originally with the Intercon, with the Taj and the Oberoi partnerships, the marketing alliances, which then moved on to becoming franchises, and then eventually now we've gone into the managed. And I think we're still building that brand in India because I think we've conquered, or we've done very well with the mid-market, with the Holiday Inn, a very recognized brand, and the Crown Plazas. But now, because we've got that platform, we're saying, hey, listen, we need to enter the luxury space. The two new brands we introduced in the last 5 or 10 years is the Holiday Inn Express, because it wasn't right for the market in its first generation. It was a little ahead of its time with little F&B and so on and so forth. But today, I think it's very right for the market, and which is why I think we've introduced that in the next generation. And the two new brands which we're bringing in is Staybridge Suites, which is an all-suite product. I think we've signed the first one in Bangalore, and I think very relevant because this is long stays, right? So again, right for the market. And the newest one, which has finally got a great traction in India, we've signed 3 deals in the last 6 months. We've got a great pipeline, is the Voco, which is in that premium space, so competes in the same swimming lane as a Crown Plaza. But it's a very conversion-friendly brand. So the difference is, although they swim in the same swimming pool, they're different swimming lanes. Crown Plaza is very prescriptive, you have brand standards and so on and so forth, versus the Voco is going to be a lot less prescriptive. It is so that you can retain the individuality of your hotel, yet take the benefits of the platform that IHG has. So, listen, they're still, and we've got the Six Senses as well, which we acquired, so then we introduced. But I think we'll only bring brands if they are relevant to the market. We're not going to do it just to bring a brand to the market.
Sure, thanks. That's innovative. Nikhil, Wyndham Hotels, one of the most perhaps creative brands when it comes to deal making. And we've done it, right? Very creatively.
Yes, we have.
Trying to do a little bit more. So tell us, you do franchises while many other countries, brands do not in this country, whereas in other countries they may. How's this strategy worked for you in a country like India. Tell us a little bit more on your numbers of, the latest franchisee agreements that you would have done. How's the experience like?
Thanks, Jaydeep. I have to do the sales pitch on Wyndham because we're known as the Ramada guys. Wyndham has 9,100 hotels in 95 countries, 24 brands. But in India, the hero brand is Ramada. In India today, we actually have 9 brands as we speak. And we've introduced 3 brands in the last 2 years. Wyndham Garden, Ramada Encore, and Trademark, which is a soft brand. We'll hit 60 operating hotels next month. And with a pipeline of 36, we should hit the 100 mark in the last quarter of this year with the pipeline and operating hotels. So that's been the journey. We've focused on tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 cities. And we've seen a mix of, and of course, we followed the trend that is there on this table. I mean, there were enough and more to lead on and learn from, if I can say, for an international brand to fill the steps. So that's something that we've focused on. So out of the 36 hotels that we have, actually, 60% of that pipeline is in tier 2, tier 3 cities. So that's where the growth is. That's where we are seeing a lot of appetite and an appetite for newer brands and international brands and franchising. So just to your point on franchising, I think we are very clear with 99% of that 9,100 hotels globally, it's franchising. We are very clear we'd like to franchise. We'd like to do a third party if an owner wants to be, doesn't want to be involved in day-to-day operations. And I think one of the things that in the last 4 years that we've been able to do very successfully is create a third party environment. We created Nile along with Zubin, and today Nile, for example, there's 3 of our hotels operating, 3 in the pipeline, a few Radissons, a few Hyatts, and so on and so forth. So we've been creative in that field and have tried to come up with solutions for owners that want franchise but still don't want to manage it on a day-to-day basis.
Thanks. Vibhas, now you have, on the other hand, created a brand, what the family did. And by the way, leisure hotels, this whole leisure word became so important and prominent, especially in COVID and post-COVID. So did you ever think about leisure, and then finally leisure?
So I think I probably need to introduce myself. We own this boutique experiential resort chain, largely based out of Uttarakhand. In fact, Jaydeep, I came here to hear about shareholder value from Mr. Chadha. My mother has shares last 45 years, and we're all waiting for price discovery comes to shareholder value. So I think the next 18 months for ITC shareholders is going to be exciting. And just picking on the same theme, in our entire asset right strategy, we actually work with the two amongst the 5 largest market cap driven companies. We have currently 3 existing hotels with IHCL, 2 to come. We also have a Mahindra asset. We had 2 earlier. So we've thought about this and we've planned to have multiple partnerships. When we started in Uttarakhand, there were not very many people focusing in that state. We thought for the right reasons, weather, mountain, natural landscapes, it was underrepresented. And now the journey has taken us 3 decades. We have about 25 odd properties, again focusing in the experiential space. And with our existing partnerships, which are growing, I think we've done a fair job as an independent company, and we're very proud of our house of brand strategy. No 2 resorts are the same. We don't even have the same name, in fact. So it's an interesting journey, and we've tried to diversify. COVID taught us a thing or 2. As a family, I guess we can take these risks. We have launched a distillery, which we are getting into the craft spirit business. So in another month, we'll hopefully be sending a case of gin to all of you on the panel, and perhaps the audience as well.
Okay. But Vibhas, this is just for me to understand, sorry, pardon my ignorance. So what is this partnership with Taj? So you would do your own OpCo-PropCo model, and then you have PropCo where you get a third party to run it. Is it both works simultaneously?
It's not as complex as that. Maybe Surinder Singh ji would have liked to answer this. But we searched for them about a decade ago when we were looking to partner with them for one of our hotels. We got into a management contract. That worked out well. It took some time. And then we were able to seek a franchise relationship with IHCL about 3 years ago. We launched the product well, but we realized along the way it's probably better to give it back to them under management. And it's in a separate company altogether. And now the existing partnerships are again both under management and franchise, and these are 4 different legal entities. So it's a very simple case-to-case relationship. There's nothing special over and above that, but it's been working well so far.
Great. Gentlemen, I have basically 3 subjects in this panel. So first we were supposed to cover development, which more or less I think you've given an idea of what the brands are, what you do, and how is it growing. Then we'll talk about people, because that's most important subject. As we all know, we're all here, it's all about people. And then we'll move it to performance towards the end. So Sudeep, I'm starting on the people side with you. A lot is written, spoken, discussed about hospitality sector losing its good talent. I know Natwar sitting there, he tells me every day what's happening. But does this remain for you the biggest challenge as a leader when you sit in the boardroom? I mean, is it still the biggest challenge for you? And how are you addressing it?
You know, if there's one thing which keeps me up at night, it is the talent, future talent. I've done the math, my team knows that. If I look at the projected growth rate of existing pipelines, so not new signings, whatever we've signed so far, and the attrition we have at our hotels, over the next 6 years, I need to recruit 20 people a day, including weekends. Right? That's the level of challenge we have. So it's a train wreck coming to hit us. And, you know, I think it's probably a similar challenge for almost everyone here. The challenge is not at the high ranks, not necessarily. It's not the senior leaders. It's not even necessarily the mid ranks, right? Because there's enough opportunity which is going to come for them. It is the bulk of the people who make it, which is rank and file, right? And I think, listen, let's face it, we were not very kind to that segment of the colleagues during COVID, right? We all have our reasons and excuses. Owners won't do this, that, and the other. We've got to protect numbers, etc. But we all were not very kind to that segment. And so there's no reason why they won't act the way they are acting today, which says, listen, why should I care about you when you didn't care about me? In my mind, that, and I think the previous panel talked about Gen Z and so on and so forth, the bulk of the people making up that segment is sort of that age category of 20 to 25. In my mind, and I think we've done enough surveys, I think all of us have done it, Natwar's here, he can probably tell you as well. I think the 2 most important things for them is work-life balance, which was different than when we worked, when I was at that age. And number 2 is aspiration in terms of career. They want to build a career. And I think we all do the right things to try and retain and try and hire the right people and give them the right tools and the right trainings and so on. But I think the biggest thing we can do, in my mind, currently, which is immediately actionable, is give them the work-life balance and go down to 8 monthly offs, right? I've said that in previous panels in the industry, and I think, but I'm telling you, amongst all the people sitting here, they are leaders of their own hotels. Not more than 25% of the people have that in place, right? The biggest difference you can make for them. I hate it when I've got to work a weekend, so why shouldn't they?
So better get your act together, because then there are companies like us who are acquiring that talent, promising better work-life balance. And I must tell you, there are people in the room who work with me and they're pretty happy. They left this world. And we give Monday to Friday. It's a pitch as well, by the way, but nevertheless, we're kind of upskilling. It's important for the customer and the guest, equally in a commercial office building or a shopping mall and at the airports. Thank you, sir. But yes, it's genuinely an elephant in the room. So we're glad that you picked it up. Mr. Bakaya, you've seen it all, right? And from those days to these days, and I think the trick, which I feel that still makes you so effervescent, is because you kind of change with time. What do you think has also changed, and how are you sort of coping up and managing this problem of people?
So I think we always had a people problem. I've been in the business 45 years. I don't remember a year when we did not have those challenges. We had challenges when a third of your workforce in the kitchen and F&B service didn't report on duty at the beginning of the month because they'd all gone aboard a ship. And I'm talking about a hotel with 1,500 employees and very deluxe and very special in the city. It happened. Good people have always an issue. Today it's a much bigger issue. So I think two areas. One is spend a lot more time and effort on what those people really, really want. And yes, 5-day weeks is one. 5-day weeks is still a bit of a mirage. We are operating people on split shifts. When a guy leaves home at 6 in the morning, starts work, does his breakfast, does lunch, comes back again in the evening for a dinner. If the hotel's really busy with weddings and things, he's spending late night, he doesn't get home for some time. Has that gone out of the window? It hasn't yet. I compared notes with a whole lot of the larger companies, and they're still following the practice. So I think we have to change dramatically. That's one part. What do they want? They want more of a fun space. They want more of a challenge. And yes, they want growth, and they want growth faster. So it's got to be a marriage. I can't give it all to them. I've got to start working. I have started working. I've got to start working much more to bridge the gap. The other thing is, what else you do? You build your own army. You start developing your apprentices. You start developing your RTD models. You start developing your operations trainees. You start developing your management trainees. And you hope to hell a large section of them are going to be loyal to you because you're offering them careers and offering them growth. And they understand your culture. They understand what you want. They understand when people are needed, they are really needed. You can say anything. But if I have a property that is all rooms full, all banquets charged, all restaurants booming, hell, I need you guys there. And that time, doesn't matter what your backgrounds are, how young or old you are, what you want in life, what you're dreaming of, you just have to be there. There's no alternative. So somewhere along the line, we've got to bridge that gap and build more people who understand your culture and who are with you for the longer term.
I think Natwar is doing a fantastic job on that front because he's kind of training those people and getting...
yes, he is. Natwar is good for the next 100 years.
You're good for the next 100 years, and so is this industry. Thank you. Vibhas, for you, is it more difficult because when you're a boutique brand, you're in certain upcountry locations, you also have a fear that the big ship will take the people away. Does it really happen, or is that piece really insulated? Do you lose people? What do you do of attrition?
So we've been fortunate. We've been able to build a home-style culture over the last 3 decades. I think most of our colleagues are well acknowledged, well appreciated in the ecosystem. They have long service. Most of them are probably only going to thrive in our culture. And we've seen that often enough. They would leave for compensation and they would come back because perhaps other cultures don't appreciate them as much. They don't have that formal training and exposure. But we are now changing that thought process. We've brought in a thought process on formally training them. There's a lot of skill development. But we are looking at hyper-localization wherever we are. So 95% of the people would be from within 5 kilometers other than some senior people. So it's never really been a threat for us. And we are perceived to be one of the larger employers in that area.
Homely environment, I think, is a key that I've kind of taken what you've just said. Nikhil, for you, it's, again, I'm taking this discussion towards franchising. Do you have to upskill these guys more than the others? How do you manage that?
So, Jaideep, just on talent, the industry's always had 40% attrition.
40?
40, globally, right? The pandemic only highlighted it. And like Mr. Bakaya said, it's a larger problem, but it's always been a problem, right? And I think people like Natwar actually do deserve a big round of applause because what they're doing with skilling in this country is the next level, and that is the need of the hour. So,
धीरे-धीरे Natwar show क्यों बनता जा रहा है?
So, just as an example, we've partnered with Job Plus to ensure that the rank and file skilled come into our units in franchising. There is a lot of push that we do in terms of L&D at all levels, and we encourage our hotels to upskill, to multi-skill, and to grow not only within the hotel but across the brand in various geographies.
Great, thanks. Zubin,
if I may I make a comment on that?
Sure.
I think a lot of valid points here. I really agree with everything that's been said. My only addition to that would be that we need to open up the sources of talent. We are going back to the same old places, the hotel schools, or the limited place, colleges and schools which are feeding, talent into our hotels. The problem is the supply and demand don't match. We are in an explosion right now. India today is 250,000 rooms. India in 10 years will be 3 times that. Are we going to keep up pace with the talent? I don't think so. We as an industry are poor paymasters. I don't want to use a stronger word than that. You've got competing industries which are paying 2 times, 3 times as much, be it the call centers or the service centers or whatever else. And you have a talent pool which has a highly transferable skill. So how are we retaining that? So I think we have to open up the pool, and again, it is indeed a Natvar show. I think what he's doing is fantastic. He's actually going in to the markets, to the northeast, to the small villages, and getting in the kids who want to make a living, who want to make a career out of hospitality. I think that is one approach. And once you have that talent into your system, then I think it is the organization's duty to grow that talent. I mean, we as a company this is, I think, clearly for Addison, I think it's probably true for the industry, is our number one crisis.
I think we must acknowledge here big strides taken by people like Pathu and Lemon Tree on inclusion and on using people with disability. Phenomenal. So we need to do more of those things.
Absolutely. Very well said. Absolutely. Need of the hour. So I'm taking it to the third pillar from a shareholder's value perspective. We've talked about investments, development, what you guys are doing. We talked about people, which is a very strong pillar. The third pillar that drives the shareholder value is performance. Sudeep, may I ask this question to you? And if you can start the performance side of the conversation. 2022, you see, in many ways was a stellar year for all of us. Whichever business you were in, it was fantastic. What is your expectation, Sudeep, from here on? Will this euphoria continue? Are we looking at a plateau situation? And I know you've been on this side of the story as well. And you've always looked at the markets very, very analytically, whether it is hospitality, stocks, different things. I know so it'll be really good to have your view to begin with.
So you're right, 22 was a stellar year. And, I think 23 is better than 22, right? So from that standpoint, I don't think it's stopping us. And I'll answer this question in 2 ways. One is sort of the macroeconomic things which are going on. Firstly, let's acknowledge that India hospitality is predominantly domestic, right? I mean, yeah, sure, 6 million or now maybe 10 million foreign tourists, including family members, versus 800 million domestic travelers, right? So I can tell you occupancy in our hotels is virtually about 85 to 90% based on domestic travel, right? So to me, what's going on in that domestic world, the growth in the infrastructure, the macroeconomic growth rate in the country, just by the sheer economics. But to me, the building of the roadways, building of the railways, building of the airports, the airlift, the 450 aircrafts which Indigo's ordered, 500 of them, the Air India's ordered, all that's pointing in the direction where, they're going to get filled and people are going to travel. When they travel, they're no longer staying with the Tauchis and the Chachas and the Burjis, they're staying in hotels, right? So I think, the future is bright at the macroeconomic level. When I get down to the micro and more granular today, I think 2022 was a bumper year because of 2 basic segments, at least for us. Number one was the leisure segment, people wanting to take more shorter trips and so on, getting in the car and driving out and so on. And then number 2 was sort of what I call social MICE, which was birthdays, anniversaries, weddings, and so on and so forth. So, what people said, the Indian wedding has gone on a diet, good luck, it's back with a bang, right? I think 2023 is still seeing the incidence of those 2 segments still much more than what it was in 2019. The domestic corporate segment has started coming back, but it's not back to 2019 levels. Again, I'm talking about myself or our business. So when that domestic corporate business comes back, the leisure and the social MICE is not going away, which means the demand forecast in my head for the foreseeable future is very bright. The supply addition, unfortunately, the ramp up in supply, the signings, we were at a pace, if I look at the big players, were at a rate of about 8,000 to 10,000 hotel rooms a year pre-COVID. During COVID, it went down to 4,000 or 6,000, right? This year, it's going to go up beyond 10,000 because of the pent-up demand. So, but this 10,000 hotel rooms is not coming online for another 4 years, right? So in the imbalance of the demand and supply for the foreseeable future is going to remain in my mind. And the segments which are not yet in full swing are going to come back. And you cannot ignore the international corporate as well because of the focus and the growth of India. If there were 12 million people traveling earlier and that was growing at a rate of 10% or 12% a year, I think that growth rate is going to really spike because the floodlights are on the country. So, you know, I think all things point to demand is going to grow at a much, much, much faster pace than supply. As a consequence, great occupancy, and you know the virtuous cycle, great occupancy, great rates, as a consequence, higher profits, more supply coming online, and then there's going to be an inflection point probably in 27, 28 again.
Didn't I say analytical, Sudeep Jain? Yeah, you got all data, you don't need JLL for the moment. Thank you, Sudeep. Yes. No, I think he's the Harsha Bhogle. You see, we still have to go and play. Okay. Mr. Bakaya, if I take this conversation, Sudeep, thank you. Actually, it was very enlightening. And a lot of this is when we are looking at the market from a distance, it's very similar. The pattern that you just said is emerging in the same manner. What I think I'd like to know more a little bit is what's happening on tier 2 and therefore in the tier 3 towns. A lot of your hotels are in such markets which are very important, prominent trade centers. Is the story same? Is it bullish and will continue to remain bullish?
The story is the same. I see a demand increase of 20% upwards year on year, for not just for the next 3 or 4 years, but for the next 10 years. But I think India's on a big, huge role, and there just isn't enough supply. What do people want in the smaller towns? By and large, is different from the other larger cities with the metros. They want more recognition. They're more price conscious, and they want to announce to their communities and to the city that they've arrived. So weddings and all are largely big affairs, but that's where a person wants to say to people, you know, I've got somewhere. This is what I want to show off, and all of that is translating into real monies for the hotels. We'll continue to do so. Land's not cheap in these cities. So from that point of view, does it make more sense? Is it more of a better ROI investment? It's not. But there is high aspiration. There are a lot of things missing in these places. People are now well-traveled all over the place, and they want more and more of this to happen. So I think, yeah, growth in these cities is much bigger than the larger cities. And you see much more mushrooming. I remember a conversation about 10 to 12 years ago with the CFO of a huge multinational who said to me, you know, we know 300 room, 400 room, 500 room hotels in large cities in the world. We can do that with our eyes closed. But the 60, 80, 100 rooms in the Coimbatores and the Nasiks and the Surats, not our cup of tea. Today, every large international company, every small international company is going into every possible city in the country. So it is a changing landscape and a dynamic one. I think there's lots of action there, lots of excitement.
You've given me actually a cue for the next question to Zubin. I remember Zubin once told me that you have a Radisson Hotel after so many miles if you go
4
on.
hours. Every 4 hours.
4 hours. 4 hours. Okay, 4 hours if you take any highway towards north, south, east, west. Does all of this sell, Zubin? All these hotels are working well?
We are in the distribution business. You know, if you ask an owner, and Vibhas is here, you know, why would you choose why would you choose one brand over the other? I'm saying if you ask an owner, why one over the other? The answer is distribution. You know, we are in the distribution business. So when you have more flags, we are in about close to 70 cities across the country. We'll probably be, you know, we'll be about 300 hotels in 5 years. We'll probably be in more than 100 cities in the next 3 to 5 years. And 85% of the demand, as Sudeep mentioned, and that's true for our portfolio as well, is coming from India domestic. So how are you going to grow? How are you going to support these hotels? So the idea is distribution strength comes from footprint, and the idea does sell. I mean, just in fact, today we signed a hotel in Jhansi, and so tier 2, tier 3 are the markets which are really rolling. These are the markets which will continue to grow. There is real development happening on the ground. I think India is where the US was about 30, 40 years ago. When the roads come, people travel. When people travel, they need hotel rooms, and so on and so forth. So that's my point to this. I want to just backtrack I have a different, to the previous question, and I just want to make a comment, not seeking any more responses on that. I have a slightly different point of view on what's going to happen in the future. Top line will grow. I don't think we have a top line problem for India at all. Domestic consumption is growing. India inbound is going to grow exponentially. I think we are going to have a bottom line problem. And I'll tell you how. Out of the 60% operating cost that you have, generally speaking, half of that is coming from utilities and payroll. And we just mentioned we are in the most severe crisis situation with manpower. So that 19, 20% payroll cost is going to increase to almost 25%, which means your operating GOPs are going to come down if we don't do anything about it. Utilities will rise with inflation. So I think, I have a contrarian view. I think as managers, we are paid to look at it ground up. My view is that top line is going to grow just fine. It is going to be about how well you manage the bottom line. So I think the GOPs, and again, some of us did see that pressure come up in the month of June and July. I don't know about the other portfolios. Clearly, I can tell you in some locations, and in our own discussions internally, that was the big red flag that we are concentrating on. And what that will mean is automation, efficiency, clustering. And by the way, those kind of things become better when you have larger scale. We are clustering throughout India. Anyway, this is not a Radisson discussion. But point is that I see a bottom line problem here. I don't see a top line problem.
Okay, interesting point there. We'll just take a pit stop, though we're not allowed, but the man who's basically brought us here is only wanting us to stop. Please, sir, over to you.
Listen, I don't want to interrupt this great discussion, but the kind of milestone, and most of the hoteliers that I talk are in a very transactional mode. I'm sorry to Jaideep to bring this discussion.
Bring this word also, transaction. We take it personally, by the way.
No, JD and JLL are synonymous, and people in the room, this man only understands transaction. But I want to ask the panel, there was a time, and a decade back, when you used to relook and give a lot of concentration to our guests. But today time, after a decade, I've seen a journey. Every hotelier worth his salt and name talks only number of keys, number of rooms, every mile having a flag. So what's your take? Are we really going in a transactional mode? Where are the ethos of hospitality? And Zubin, my friend.
No, I think
Listen,
those are the questions.
Before you speak, congratulations to Zubin for incredible journey. More flags to you, more power to you, much sunshine to you.
The real stars are sitting right there. We have.
So stars, can we hear for the other stars? Let's make some noise. Let's hear it loud.
So that's the team Radisson right
That's
there.
the way Delhi is. That's the way I started my career here with Indian Express. And Zubin, just to labor on you. So where is the heart that is beating for you?
No, I think, the questions need to change, the answers are there.
Zubin, out of syllabus hai.
नहीं बिल्कुल syllabus में
नहीं
है.
देखो syllabus से बाहर की बात करेंगे.
It is absolutely in this. That's what I said. The questions need to change a little bit.
After few drinks down, you can have.
We have, and again, I will make the quantitative answers a little bit more qualitative, right? We have today 113 operating hotels. We've got about 60 in the pipeline. About 70% of those hotels are coming from existing owner partnerships.
Bravo.
So that should speak about what we are trying to deliver to our owner partners over a 15-20 year relationship. Today, our system, and I'm sure there are great brands sitting here, so I can just talk about my own. There, of course, many others are doing are doing great as well. We have an average guest experience score of 90% across the portfolio today. And that's par excellence. You know? So the answers are there. It's not out of syllabus. I think all of us are itching to answer these questions. You know, we had great performances all over. You know, I'm going to steal the thunder for today, but but the answers are there. Thank you.
Thank you, Vibhor. I'm just taking this question to the leisure market as well. In your markets, what do you think? See, at least when we are analyzing data, we realize that in leisure markets, at least the seasonality is coming back. So is that hitting you, or we were sort of not programmed this way too soon, too much? Is that happening with us?
So, because we represent a microcosm of the industry largely in the north, I think we are at the right place at the right time. Goa happened, Rajasthan happened, Kerala's happened. It's Uttarakhand and Himachal's turn now. And the large swath of population that lives Haryana, Western UP, Delhi NCR, Punjab, they travel every weekend. Staycations, long weekends, social, mice, weddings. And there's so much of opportunity right now that this super cycle is here to stay. Some markets may have more muted growth. I think I was reading a report earlier this year that Rishikesh being one of the best markets for the country. We have one of the largest hotels there. There's no slowing down. Other than the topical weather patterns right now, of course, last 2 months have not been great.
Sure. No, that's absolutely visible. Nikhil, I stayed and I attended a wedding in one of your hotels in Mohali. Again, a very interesting idea. There was a Mohali club and you have a hotel next door. Again, you know, it's a great blend. Is that the future? Is that innovation going to make this scenario work better? What just Sudeep put it very articulately in numbers. So is that the innovation and which is now sort of taking you guys forward?
Firstly, I must say, Sudeep articulated it extremely well at the India hospitality and at the brand level. So kudos, Sudeep. It's always a delight listening to you, whether in the audience or sitting next to you. To your point, Jaideep, I think the future does lie in mixed use, and it could be commercial, it could be a club, it could be a mall, it could be multiple concepts, but the future in hospitality definitely does lie in mixed use going forward.
Mr. Pakaya, would you like to give one last thought or vision that all of us should be enlightened with and take it back with them?
I think one of the big trends recent trends in the hotel demand sector is a very large and growing segment of ladies, women, girls traveling without the guys. Yes. Whether it's solo, whether it's groups, otherwise it's a huge segment, and I think we need to tailor ourselves to see what we can do about that. The other thing is, as hoteliers, while we talk all this tech stuff and touchless and etc., we have been absolute laggards as hotel guys in using technology that is available to us easily. Every guest, or 80 to 90% of your guests, are on Google in some form or the other. However, when the guy walks in, there is no recognition for him. If his company or he is spending a whole lot of money, you might put that extra amenities in the room, and those amenities haven't changed for a long time. But do we recognize somebody as a Mr. Jaideep who works for a real estate company, who's got growing up kids, whose hobby is ABC? Does anybody in the hotel talk about that or even recognize you beyond your name and your company? Hasn't happened. You don't need any big super tech on that. The tech's all available. We just haven't used it. And I think as time goes on, if we really run our hotels smarter, we'll have to use the technology a lot better than what we've done in the past.
What a great point to end this. We have something more?
Yes. I'm architect Prakhar Jain from Metanoia Designs. We are based in Delhi. I just have a small question that why all the big hotel groups, they mostly shy away from, giving work to Indian architects when it was also discussed in the last panel about this term ruthless localization. And why do they always shy away from bringing in the context when you're talking about expanding hotels in tier 2, tier 3 and tier 4 cities? Most of the hotels I personally, like very much staying in fancy hotels, but most of them, they end up looking like hospitals for some matter or the other.
If I may labor on what Prakhar said, ladies and gentlemen, Prakhar is our young IGEN winner of the year, under 40.
Fantastic.
So give him a hand. And that's his lovely wife, Shivangi, behind him. But what he wants to say is that you've got so much abundance of talent here. And whenever we do good building, smart building, commercial building, hospitals, hotels, as developers, we flaunt and say that, this is Norman Foster, this is HBA, and there are many others. Why these young lads who are doing some incredible mark in terms of design, why aren't they given a chance? And why you as hoteliers?
I'll give you an honest answer, the good and the bad both. We have 105 hotels. 95 to 98% of those have used Indian architects and Indian designers. So that's one part, and the good news part of it. And show us what you can do. We're always looking for young talent that has something to showcase. So if you're good, you'll emerge. We're always short of good people. The biggest flaw in why the larger companies don't use so much of the Indian architects and Indian designers is because you don't travel as much as you need to. A good architect learns every day from new ideas around him. So a person based in Singapore is seeing so much more on an everyday basis than we are out here. And it needs travel, it needs to look at the new things, look at how people are doing things. Not everybody is building hotels that look like hospitals. So yes, there are people that can do a better job, and we must acknowledge that too. But there's lots and lots and lots of scope for people who are good and bright in India. No shortage.
So are the hotels open to cut the break of the cookie cutter style? Most of the brands, I don't want to name it, but they follow the cookie cutter pattern.
So it depends on the brand, right? That's why when I was saying different brands swim in different lanes, I'll take one of my brands as an example. If I'm a Holiday Inn Express guest, I expect the Holiday Inn Express to look and feel the same everywhere else in the world as well. I want to be able to reach out to the same switch because I'm a frequent traveler. I stay in those expresses. I've got a certain budget. I don't want it to be different, right? It's some people love to eat the same breakfast 7 days a week. Some people love to eat different things every meal, right? It's different horses for different courses. But the whole tenet of a big brand, which is universal, is consistency in service and product. There are brands which are consistent in service, there are brands which are consistent in product, but for a brand, mainstream brand like Holiday Inn Express, it has got to be consistent in product and service.
Very well said. And may I walk back to our Sutradhar, the wonderful and the only Jaideep Dang. Jaideep, just a question for you. In all of it, how do you feel we are poised? I'm asking a question.
We're out of time. What is that question?
The question is, all the wonderful men sitting, holding great brands and holding custodians of the brands, in all of this, you really make transactions and dreams possible. Where at you, at the heart of it, feel this industry is poised, looking at India as the geographical bend?
I think, seriously speaking, we're at a tipping point. I think this is the time to take the next big leap.
Honest answer.
Honest answer. Honest answer. We have, now look at the capital side. We've talked about various elements. We haven't talked about capital. Sudeep, remember our times to now. Three of us, Zubin, Sudeep and I, we've worked together. So I can tell you their heart still beats on that side as well. On capital transaction, purely on hospitality segment, in the last 18 months, we at JLL have traded 1,500 crores of assets changing hands, which means one owner selling to another owner with the brand. Not even one disruption and not even one distress deal. These are all, I would say, not fully priced, but at least value for money deals which have happened. That means that the market is maturing up on that side as well. So therefore, expensive land that you just mentioned, it's being traded. The hotels, performance-wise, are doing enough, which they never used to as compared to the land valuation. So we're kind of getting there, which means from our side, if you look at it, it's a good time to be in this business.
We go on a different note altogether. Big changes coming along. You got to start these things at 4 in the afternoon, follow the time, finish by 8 o'clock. So everyone can have a good time. Thank you.
So one thing I can add to your question before, today in the world, if you look at a brand and say where is the biggest number of rooms, as you said, or number of hotels, it's usually the US, number one for a global brand. Number two is China. right? In probably 10 years or less, the number 3 will be India.
It's a great statement. Ladies and gentlemen, I will quote what Homi Bhabha, Dr. Homi Bhabha said. I think this is important for all of us as managers, as leaders, as general managers, as workers in this space. Take any realm of business. He said, performance depends on 3 things. 1, how's the machine? 2, how's the weather? And 3, who's the driver? Machine kaisi hai? We've gotten, all of us got great machines to work with. We have great brands, great machines. Weather was not on our side, at least until 2 years ago. But we are, now the weather is certainly with us, So make good use of it. Who's driving it? Chala kaun raha hai? Aap sab. So therefore, I think we have enough and more to cheer upon. Thank you very much, my very, very intelligent panel. Thank you for all that you have given to all of you. Thank you very much. To be bored. Once again, the train was late. Sorry we failed all of you and failed each other. You said 20 minutes and we took 60. But pata nahi chala na, acha time nikal jata hai aise.
Give a hand for Jaideep, the man. Thank you, Jaideep.
Thank you, everyone. The thank you, your dinner's served outside.
No dinner. Sheetal, can you start?
Thank you, panelists, for sharing enlightening views and insights. But before we part ways, allows us to express our gratitude. May I please request Ms. Vidya Meshram and Vikas Malhotra to come on stage for felicitating the panelists. Mr. Nikhil Sharma. Mr. Ajay Bakaya. Mr. Jaideep Dang. Mr. Zubin Saxena, Mr. Vibhas Prasad, and Mr. Sudeep Jain. Can we have a quick round photo session, please? Thank you all the panelists for a lovely interactive session. Ladies and gentlemen, before we close and wrap the sessions, I now turn the spotlight to Mr. Bibor Srivastava to share his reflection and extend the vote of thanks on behalf of Hotelier India.
Listen, I hate to do this. This has been a marathon evening, but truly of substance. I think people spoke from the heart. They really unfathomed the scope that this industry has. But the heart of it are the people. Irrespective of technology, whatever disruption you do, but I think it's people in the industry. Maybe the people shine and we shine together. The night is young. The bar is open on the left and the right. And thank you to our partners for being with us. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.